How long do you think the trial is going to be?
How long do I think the Baldoni Lively trial will be? I don't think it's going to be that long because I think, you know, just by how long the depositions were, like they were a day or a couple of days.
Oh, you're saying that like Blake Lively only sat for a day, so they probably don't have. I mean, it's not like they don't have a lot to discuss.
I don't think there's a heap. I don't think there's like some stupid, crazy mountain of evidence that they have to present. I think it's almost certainly, yeah, I think it's almost certainly gonna be faster than one might think. Austin is here.
Oh, sweet.
Delicate is here. What's up, you two? Hope so glad you're here. By the way, we got monetized today, which is kind of cool.
Monetization.
Not full monetization because we have to get to 1,000 subs for full monetization. That's also when Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are going to buy our house once we get to 1,000 subs.
That's a joke like that Dale likes to tell online is when people are like, you're so obviously paid by Lively and Reynolds. And he's like, oh yeah, no, they promised to buy us a house as soon as we got to 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, the deal is once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we get a brand new house.
Which is so funny because that's like such small time.
It's the smallest time.
That it would never.
It's like we're admitting we're not even at 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And they want to pretend that I'm getting paid for my opinion.
It's top tier.
They can't bear
joke.
the fact. Listen, man, it is. They can't bear to believe or whatever. Bear with. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I don't care. Delicate blew me off because she blew me up because she said, "At least you aren't at 666 subs." Hell hath no fury. Yeah, I know. Well, I didn't mind being at 666.
It's so metal.
I even played Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden on the day it happened. just for giggles.
So there.
And it was a pretty good song. I mean, I remembered it being good back in the 80s, but it held up.
Yeah.
Shit is good. Lyrics are really dope.
It would be.
And it's got Vincent Price in the opening.
It would be good because it's Devil's music.
It's got Vincent Price in the opening. It doesn't get better than that.
Nope.
That's just fucking money.
Were you ever able to do impressions?
Some.
In your comedic journeys?
Some. I can do some. I can do the ones I can do. And I say, Ken, I'm not doing any for you.
No, I'm just asking if you have
but
a Vincent Price.
If I concentrate on doing one that I know I can do, like I could probably do Bill Hader if I worked on it. Like I could do certain ones. And I recognize the ones I can do. If I work on them, I can be very good. Not like your friend Marchand. What's his name?
Oh, Ross Marquand.
Ross Marquand from.
Yes, he's very good at impressions.
From.
Extremely good at impressions.
What's that show he was on?
He was on The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
He's
you might have heard of it.
It's really funny that that's his big TV role because he's super funny. He's a really fucking funny person. I never thought that he would end up on like a horror series.
Talented guy.
Where he never gets to be funny.
Lacey's here. Hi, Lacey.
It's funny that you said that
Erica just showed up. Hello, Erica.
Do you mind if I talk to you?
Do you mind if I say hello to the people who?
No, I don't mind. I just didn't know if you wanted to continue. I didn't want to be rude.
I want you to, yes.
It's funny that you said that you do a Bill Hader impression because
I don't. I said I could.
He's a guy that does impressions, so it's like which.
He does them very well.
Which one would you be doing?
He's got a lower. He's got a deeper register than me. Like he can go much lower than me. So that's where I get into my Hader problem, or trouble territory. But that's
speaking voice isn't
his speaking voice isn't there. So when he's doing certain impersonations, like he can get like crazy deep.
Why'd you pick him then?
Just because like he popped into mind as somebody who, because every time I watch people, I think about whether or not I can impersonate them.
Right, because you're kind of a mimic.
I am.
Like I know that in your writing, we kind of when you were writing your book, we kind of had to like train you away from certain authors that you were reading because it was like appearing in your work. You would like mimic their style. Like there was a section I was helping you edit. You gave me this chapter to read, and I could tell that you had just been reading Cormac McCarthy because I was like, okay, this is a little bit stream of consciousness here, bro. Like, what are we doing? We got to clean this up. This is not you talking. This is somebody else.
I think that I was reading in the neighborhood of like 40 to 60 books a year during the write. I read a lot of authors. And so, yeah, I think sometimes though, they can, like if I'm in particular Like if I'm feeling them somehow or whatever, they're just coming through, then sometimes that'll happen. But most of the time, I think I held my own as my own sort of voice. But yeah, I think like there were times when when you can definitely feel the influences, and I think that's fucking great. I hope people will one day use my work the same way I've used others.
I've noticed this shit rubs off easily because this
Maisie's
if
here. What's up?
if you're immersed in a book, it just like you can't help it. Like I read Lolita when I was bartending. And somebody was like, "What's with all the vocabulary all of a sudden?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading Nabokov right now." He's just kind of like, it's like a brainworm.
Yeah, he is.
Where you try and speak better because even though it's like his fucking fourth language.
Maisie, she's here with us today and asks, do you guys have any movie recommendations, old and new ones? And the first one that popped in my mind was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, not the original one, but the Donald Sutherland one. Just popped into my head. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Donald Sutherland, turn the lights low. It's spooky.
You said
It's
it just
like
popped
trippy.
into your head. I wonder whether like that's the recommendation that who's this?
This is Maisie.
That Maisie needs. Like it was like Maisie's spirit guide like spoke through you
As soon as I
and
said
gave you the recommendation that Maisie needs.
she said old and new ones, and the that was it. And of all movies, I don't know why that one. I loved it. The ending never left me. And it's kind of a slow burn thriller. Horror. It's crazy. Sci-fi? I don't know.
I really loved Frankenstein. I can't stop thinking about it.
Frankenstein on Netflix was brilliant.
It was fucking awesome.
It's a brilliantly done
I recommend
adaptation.
that. Mm-hmm.
I think that it's going to be all over the award season. From cinematography, even though I have some arguments about that, to makeup and wardrobe.
Oh my god!
I
if
think
the fucking costumes,
the script is going to get nominated. I think Guillermo's going to get nominated.
If the costume artists don't get fucking awarded, not even nominated, I mean like win the award, I'm gonna fucking throw things.
Well, I don't even know what they're up against, so I can't possibly make that kind of a commitment. That's what I did with Tom Cruise. I went blind. I was like, nobody can beat Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July.
That's another
It's the greatest fucking... There's a great film. If you haven't seen Born on the 4th of July, starring Tom Cruise, absolutely fucking watch that movie. Especially now, as it's really fucking... It's an important movie, I think. It's a really beautiful movie. I think it's his best performance. I know you'd probably disagree because you love Magnolia so much. Another great performance of his.
Oh, yeah.
Really showed that he actually did have acting chops.
Mm-hmm.
And forget about Tropic Thunder. Even though that actually was fucking super badass also. So... I went all blind though. I was like, fucking, it's going to be Tom Cruise. He's going to win it all. That's the best performance. I took the whole thing personal going into it, carried that thing around.
That was your team.
That was it, man.
You were Team Tom.
Team Tom. And fucking,
Hashtag Team Tom.
Hashtag Team Tom. And then, Daniel Day who? Daniel Day what? What fucking movie is this? My Left Foot? Who goes to see a movie called My Left Foot? What on God's earth could that possibly mean, and why would that be interesting to anybody? My Left Foot.
You're so uncultured.
One of my favorite movies of all time, My Left Foot. Because of course I had to go see it now because I was like, oh, you fucking won that.
So when you saw it, you were
stole
like,
it from my guy.
2 minutes in, you're like, oh, I get it.
Here's what's so fucking interesting about it is Tom Cruise was one of my favorite actors at that time, period, on the planet, right? Didn't know about the couch jumping to come and all that other stuff. It was just Tom and his movies.
The couch jumping.
Oprah fucking, his whole public meltdown.
What did you
basically.
say? The couch jumping?
When he jumped on the couch, man, in the interview.
I know, but you said something else I thought
It was before the couch. Let me just continue.
Okay.
I loved him.
Mm-hmm.
He was Tom Cruise. He was everything to me as an actor. I loved him so much. And then he loses to Daniel Day-Lewis in My Left Foot. I watched that movie and I get a new favorite actor. On the spot, I was like, oh my God. Oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening? And from that day forward, Dan Day.
You were no longer Team
was
Tom.
number one. I left Team Tom.
You were Team Dan Day.
Team Dan Day. Went right to it. I felt a little cheap, but
what was the explanation for Tom Cruise's really wacky phase? Where he was being kind of manic and everybody was a little bit concerned.
I'm going with Scientology and hanging out with if Miscavige is your fucking, your source of brethren, then I think the power of brother comes through the church of Scientology.
I don't know why nobody
I think that
suspected
just makes you
drugs
weird.
because he acted so fucking weird. All of a sudden, just I don't know. And then he like toned it down real quick. I'm not sure what the phase is attributed to.
Do you want to hear some really cool Heat 2 news?
I don't believe that it's gonna be cool news, but yeah, I'll hear it.
Apparently, they're circling around Christian Bale.
Yeah, I know. They want to put, you know how it was like
That's pretty banging.
Pacino, De Niro, like the two greatest on
I said
screen.
that's what you got to do.
So they're saying it's going to be DiCaprio and Bale.
Is it?
As
I
like
told you.
the two
I thought it was
greatest.
going to be him and Phoenix. Leaf Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So anyway, I think Christian Bale's a great plan. I love it.
A great plan for what? You don't even know.
For working on for that movie.
It's not a remake though. You don't know what it's about.
It's Heat 2. I know what it is.
Why do you think it's going to be a good? Like, we don't even know.
Because he's super fucking badass. The point is to put a super badass human being in there. That guy is a super badass human being. It's got to be like, it's got to be the highest level of actor to, Angela.
Do you think that since they have that like old, they were antagonists of each other for a little while, right? They had this old, like, I want to say nemesis, but I don't know what the word is.
Rivalry?
Christian Bale, huh? Rivalry. Yes, thank you. Christian Bale and DiCaprio had this rivalry over American Psycho, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they're planning to put that on the screen or what? Like, do you think they get along now, or are they still mad at each other?
I doubt they ever didn't get along. I think that, what Angela's referring to is Christian Bale, his absolute like pet project was American Psycho, right?
Yeah.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
Christian Bale's, pet project was American Psycho. Leonardo DiCaprio blew, and it was also everybody's favorite project because it's American Psycho. It's a fucking brilliant story.
And
Leonardo DiCaprio blows up in Titanic, becomes the biggest star ever, and then all of a sudden, one Monday morning, I'll call it, there was an article in Variety saying that Leonardo DiCaprio was going to be attached to American Psycho to play what's his face? Bateman. Wow.
Patrick Bateman?
The fucking blowback on that was so huge all over town. It was like a fucking nuclear, like everybody was like, what a dick. Leo got hit hard and Leo backed out of it immediately. Like, I'm talking as fast as that announcement came, in a wisp of wind, it was gone. Pretty amazing. So, I don't think that they care about it after that. Christian Bale played his role, and that's all that mattered.
Nobody else could have done it like him. I can't possibly be convinced that it could have been better cast.
I don't think that's possible. I think that there are certain roles where when the actor lands them, they were born to play them, and I think that's true for Christian Bale. And maybe we haven't seen Leo's born to play role, or it was Arnie.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I mean, it could have been, because that performance is as good as any I've ever seen. Probably. I mean, it's up there with, that. It was that kind of quality. Yeah, guys. So just so you know, if you haven't noticed, we did monetize, but it's not to actually, we're not kind of pursuing the monetization. I'm just hoping that it helps us. I hope it tweaks the algorithm, because we're at 670 followers. And I want to get to 1,000 so I can monetize for ads. That's what I really want. And, super chats and all this stuff will be fun if we get, a lot of folks hanging around and we're doing the lives for the trailer or for the trial. That'd be a lot of fun. But anyway, just letting you guys know what's happening.
Cosmic Urgency wants to know, did you know Eric Michael Cole?
I did.
Yeah?
Yes.
What do you know about him?
He was his first of all, he was like the craziest story ever, because he just kind of showed up in Hollywood and then he just hit instantly. I remember I literally remember the first time I saw that kid, because it was at Formosa. And I remember because I walked in and he was standing there, and he's relatively tall. So fucking beautiful. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. Like, everybody except anybody who was already ahead of him slipped down the rungs of the ladder. As soon as I saw him, I was like, we all just went down. I was like, fuck, I'm never going to make it in this town. With guys like that, I'll never fucking make it in this town. I would say it's the next week. I know that it was that close. So I'm just going to say it was the next week. Maybe it wasn't exactly the next week. He fucking booked White Squall. Now, it's sort of like a crazy story because it's a Ridley Scott movie. It stars Jeff Bridges. It has an amazing cast. Young and up-and-comers. Jeremy Sisto, Ryan Philippe, Baltazar Getty. So it's got this whole, crew of names that have been floating around Hollywood. And Eric Michael Cole. He just shows up and he had this mane of hair, dude. I was like, wow, fuck. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, you are the most beautiful guy I've ever seen. And I kind of fucking hate you right now because you're destroying my dreams just by standing here. You're destroying my goddamn dreams. Then, of course, he and Jeremy became friends. So I knew him through Jeremy. We didn't have a close relationship by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think I ever hung out with him alone once. But I knew him for a moment. And yeah, man. He was amazing, dude. And he went on and did the Angelina Jolie one. What was that? Whatever, the one where they're in the...
Gia.
Was it Gia?
I think so.
I think you're right. It was Gia. Yeah, he did Gia, and then he did a bunch of fucking things. He kind of disappeared. He's like last I heard, he was a carpenter or whatever.
Oh, I hope he's happy.
He might be working again. He should have always been working. He may not have had like a super big range. Maybe that was his problem. I don't know. But he had it together, and like he could hold the camera down. He could hold it down. So even if you're not going to put him in a scene where he has to deliver goosebumps,
Mm-hmm.
you could put him in a scene to hold the fucking thing down.
That's right.
So anyway, cool dude. Why do you ask?
Erica said, I noticed an interesting thing yesterday. I was on Yahoo's story and it was loaded with anti-Blake comments.
Yeah.
So I started clicking on the commenters and checking their history, and probably 80% of them commented only on Blake Lively articles. Either they aren't real or they have no other opinions on anything else.
Well, or they're real and they're paid by Wallace, because they can also be real and paid by Wallace. Or somebody like Wallace, if it's not Wallace himself. Who knows? They probably have subsidiaries up now that we don't even know about, and, whatever else. Well, that's really interesting. I meant to mention this yesterday, but TMZ did a poll. Who do you believe? Justin Baldoni?
Yeah, I saw that.
Blake Lively? And when I saw it, it was some crazy number. It was like 89% or something.
Overwhelmingly for Baldoni.
For Baldoni.
Yeah.
And there was just under 70,000 votes. Like, it was a substantial sample. I don't know what their voting thing is, if it cookies or if you can go back and vote like a bunch of times, like American fucking Idol or whatever.
Why? What good is a poll about whether you believe something?
It's about engaging your fans, or
It's
whatever.
So weird.
But it's...
that's exactly what they would set up if they want a smear campaign, where they want to astroturf everybody into believing that there's one side that's right, that everybody else agrees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what one side would want to do, and it's the side that's accused of doing that kind of shit. Austin is said in all caps, Baltazar.
Well, yeah. It's weird because like when I went back to Hollywood in 2010, I like within a few days of being there ended up on a set with a guy I knew from way before, a guy called Chris Young. I loved him. I still do, actually. Just said his name, got filled with a longing for him. He's a really great guy. I just miss him. So Chris Young, I went to go help him on this short movie he was making. It was like a horror film, and Balt Getty was in it. And Balt Getty had no memory of me whatsoever, which isn't that surprising because he was flying on H at the time. Like when I knew him, and again, we weren't super close by any stretch of the imagination, but we hung out a bunch of times, and I was a little surprised. Like, I was living in Jersey or something, and I got a call from RD, and RD said, "Yo, Ryan, Philippi says, what's up?" And I was like, "Oh, no shit." Not even thinking he would have remembered me. And then you got Balt Getty, who I thought I actually spent more time with.
Yeah.
And the guy has no memory of me. So it's weird. People's minds.
I've done that to people in accident. I have a really bad memory about some stuff. Like I remember I'm really good at remembering what happened, but I struggle to remember who was there. So I've I've hurt people's feelings before.
Oh shit!
Telling them a story about something really cool that happened.
Like I was standing right fucking next to you.
Exactly. That's happened to me before.
Wow.
I know it sucks. It's not. I mean, I can't do anything about it.
It's a sign of early dementia.
Probably.
I shouldn't make fun of dementia, should I? It's a terrible thing. It's all over my family at the moment.
Austin is saying, did you hear about Christian Bale, how he built a community he helped design for foster kids that are siblings so that they can stick together, and also ones that age out of foster care? It's called Our Village.
Oh my God, that's so fucking cool.
We have talked about that here before. I like to do, like, it's not a series.
Well, I don't remember.
It's not a series because your memory. It's
Yeah.
not a series or anything because we're not a show or anything. But I always like, I think about like in our series on who's a real one. Christian Bale's a real one, you know?
He is, I think, you know.
I just like, I like stories about wealthy people who use their money to help, you know.
There's so many people, like, it's so weird, like, sometimes I guess I have this, like, dysfunctional thinking where sometimes I'm like, oh, why didn't I end up in that? Like, why didn't Jeremy Sisto, like, take me to a party and across the room was Christian Bale?
Instead?
Yeah. Like, because I felt like my destiny was like happening. Like, it really felt that way. And it was beyond that. I mean, I truly did, have a whatever. And I don't know, what do you call it? A premonition that I was going to meet, Jeff Goldblum. Like, that's all very real. And it was very fucking weird. And it was extremely absolute when it happened. Like, there was no thinking about it. And there was no doubting it. It was absolute. It was as if it already had happened. So I felt very much like I was almost not on my own, like moving of my own free will at that point. That I was on a conveyor belt. I think I almost tried not to get off it ever, which might have been why the last 30 years have been rather, I don't know, passing me by or me passing it by. Anyway, it's all very, very strange. But, as I think about that and as I think about my destiny unfolding, I've never, I've on multiple occasions thought about what would have happened if instead of Leo and Toby, it was Adam Sandler. It was, like there's so many other people that I've been better suited for as a talent in general.
Like one of these really great
these guys were
groups.
like the kind of competitors who like stopped each other from progressing clearly.
Yeah. Like if you moved to Chicago and joined like the Second City or something like that instead,
Yes. These kinds of things. If I got into a crew, like I think also Marissa Ryan was misplaced.
Oh yeah.
Like she was also somebody who belonged in like a community of actors who emboldened each other, who believed in each other, who weren't afraid of each other, And I feel like I got into a crew that was really worried about how they stacked up amongst each other, which was crazy to me, especially with Leo at the head. I'm like, absolutely nobody's going to pass that guy ever. He's already done more than we ever, all of us will combined. And, this is 1995. So like, forget about it. This guy has his entire future in front of him and he will never be nominated for an Oscar. Come on. I mean, what are the fucking odds that any one of us ever get nominated for an Oscar?
It's also kind of lame to like be in such close proximity to people who have all this talent and all of this, like they're a big supportive group and they hang out together all the time, but so many of them want money, right? Like
money's part of it.
Like that Toby talks in his deposition so much about how he wanted to be rich. I'm like, that's such a fucking lame ambition when you're in Hollywood. Like, why don't you want to create something that people haven't seen before? Why don't you want to create something that's like so like sticky and catchy as like a piece of entertainment that you get to play it, forever and everybody's always entertained. Like why would you have money ambitions? Like go to fucking Wall Street, It's just strange to me.
I mean, it's okay to have some financial goals. I mean, but
it's not the way that he talks about it. He talks about it as like he's put all of his friends into a hierarchy and he wants to be at the top. Like it's fucking weird.
It is. Truly.
Weird priorities.
Absolutely. Completely weird. So, by the way, we started a new series that I'm excited about. How many episodes are we in? 2?
Well, I wasn't going to talk about it because I can't remember what it's called.
It's called Katla. It's Katla. Mm-hmm. If you're from Los Angeles, KTLA is, you could go there. but it's
Katla.
called Katla.
I think is it Icelandic?
It's an Icelandic.
It's set in Iceland, but I don't.
Miniseries. It's an 8-episode miniseries, and it's a really fucking cool premise.
Yeah, sci-fi.
It's a sci-fi kind of horror, kind of mystery.
It's based on Icelandic mythology, which is fucking awesome.
It's really
or like maybe
cool.
Nordic mythology. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got the whole fucking Nordic-y thing going on. And yeah, there's some dubs, there's some dubbing and some subtitles along the way, but nothing I felt that was distracting me from really enjoying it. It's the premise is that I don't know how to explain it except to say that there's an
You
absolutely
can't explain it without spoilers.
Well, I'm going to do this. It's an extraordinary event that has everyone baffled, and it's occurring during a very long eruption of a volcano.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole world is basically covered in ash.
It's very cool.
It's fucking cool, man. And there's some shit happening with the ash.
It's neat.
It's fucking cool. It's called Katla. It's on Netflix.
You recommend it?
I caught it. I caught it on a feed, one of my feeds, and I was like, oh, that sounds fucking interesting. Yesterday we popped it on, got through the first 2 episodes. Couldn't recommend it enough at this point. So if you want to join us on that journey, we're going to finish that, I think, probably by the end of the week, because I think about it quite a bit. I just want to know what the fuck it's all about. It's got that lost intrigue, you know?
Yeah, it reminded me of Lost too.
It's got that lost intrigue. So I fucking loved it, and I'm excited to get through it.
What did you want to talk about today?
Well, we got a bunch of things, but the main stuff is we have Epstein. So quick update on that. The House passed the bill.
Oh, I was like, they found him.
Yeah, I think you're gonna probably
They found
see,
Epstein, guys.
They caught him.
He is on
there's
an
a
island
new Epstein island.
this whole time.
It's up in the north. It's ice. It's made of ice. He's on it. He's cold.
There's a volcano, you see.
There's a volcano. But anyway, they passed the bill on a very serious topic. They passed the bill to release the Epstein files. This has to go now to the Senate, I suppose, and the Senate then to Donald Trump. And so, it's got to walk its way to Donald Trump. I'm sure it's like an old tired mule get on its way there, like, okay, we'll get there when we do.
I know they're going to rubber band it around a tortoise and just like hope he ends up there.
No, you're right. No, or they're going to just wrap it up in a bill that nobody wants to pass. They'll be like,
oh, I know.
You have to sign this, and when you do that, it also
it kills every dolphin
amends
on the entire
First
planet.
Amendment. What's that?
It kills every dolphin on the entire planet.
Yeah. So
it undoes the First Amendment.
Yeah,
right?
like it completely undoes the First Amendment. Anyway, it's a great thing. Obviously, we'll see if we actually get the Epstein files that are unredacted and not I don't know what hidden. Nothing's hidden. Hopefully.
Deegan said it just passed the Senate.
There it goes. So it's flying. No one's fucking. This thing's a hot potato, man. Hot potato. I love it, man. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm going to give this woman credit for this. She turned her party. She might have become one of the more powerful people in the party right now. And she has a non-divisive message coming out. And I think she's wise to what's going to get elected next in these next upcoming elections. So, because everyone's sick of the hate. We're sick of it. We're sick of the hate. We're sick of the fucking warring, the talk of war. The fucking, Donald Trump blaming everybody but himself, calling this he's calling the Epstein files a Democratic hoax. It's just the most ridiculous. I mean, wait till you see the Democrats pouring out of this fucking file. 1,000 girls, over 1,000 girls, man.
I know. Does he think that there's only one side that gets blackmailed? Like these rich guys are getting blackmailed left and right, bro. Like they can't stop themselves from becoming susceptible to fucking blackmail. So
a few of his victims were outside of the Capitol today, standing in front of a crowd of people. One of them, a Trump supporter, or not a Trump supporter, a Trump voter, I'll say. She actually called him out.
Yeah, you told me that, and I was like, well, that's who they would put up on the podium.
But it's not. It wasn't because, Virginia Giuffre's brother. I'm surprised she's like going by Giuffre, even though I know she obviously legally changed her name because she was married. But apparently, he was abusive to her physically. He got a restraining order. It was really the events of, their dispute that kind of took her over the edge, or so it seems, at least from what I've been able to read and glean from it.
Cosmic Urgency said the Epstein files are not going to be unredacted, so they will be redacted. And therefore, it will continue to haunt Trump.
Well, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what we get.
I wonder whether it would just be, you know, the news cycle moves on real fast all the time. I mean, it hasn't moved on from this because this is still pending and it's in everybody's minds.
We'll see.
But I wonder whether it would be like more politically advantageous for them to just like rip the Band-Aid off and then just try and move on with something else.
I think what happens is we you know, because we got into this news cycle where we say everything moves on. I think it doesn't just move. I don't think it necessarily moves on. I think it just gets quiet and then comes back and gets quiet and comes back.
Of course, when it's something horrific like this, yeah, it's not going to go away.
So, and by the way, Speaker Johnson, speaking to the House about the bill, I think he used the word scintilla. I think he said, you know, if anyone has shown one scintilla of support or had anything to do with, in any way,
the criminal behavior,
the you know, covering for the criminal behavior, knowing and not reporting it, all of them, justice should be served to them all. And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. How much of it have you read? Very interesting. Very excited for his victims, very excited for the rest of us who get to know the truth. We can start to see more of the underbelly. And I think we have to, in order for us to start seeing the politicians for what they truly are, we have to know what they truly do. And I think this is one step toward that. And I'm excited about it. I think a lot of people don't, you know, it's like with Leo fans, I've had a lot of very interesting interactions with Leo fans who just cannot fathom anything other than this perfect idea that they have of him in his head. So when I come along with the stories of him being an asshole, with him being mean, with him being a bully, it's like throwing hot oil on them. They just screech and scream and they, you know, try to wriggle out of it. But the reality is always different than, you know, what we've projected onto these idols. And I think that happens in politics. And, you know, so hopefully the wall comes tumbling down. I'm excited. Hope you guys are excited. Definitely going to, you know, keep covering it, man. I read Giuffre's book and I'm interested in the story all the way to the end. I'm committed to it for sure. Jerry Swindoll is not in those files. Don't let them scapegoat him. He might be, but he'll be a hero. He'll have swept in.
Speaking of released evidence, okay, the Baldoni fans are screaming about a win that Lively got in court today.
Oh yeah, so what happened?
So what happened was that she alleged that during so they're all in this discovery phase, right?
Yes.
I mean the discovery phase I think is concluded at this point.
It has.
But she said that they're
in the motion for summary judgment phase.
Yeah, so Jamie Heath allegedly showed her a video that had it was a video of his wife and she was naked. The context of the video is it was a home birth.
Yes. Oh yes, I know.
And
what you're talking about now. Yeah.
so he showed that to her in the workplace, right? He showed that, walked right up to his coworker Blake Lively and showed her a video without asking her permission.
Did not ask, can I show you something?
Neither side.
That is extremely personal.
Yeah, neither side is saying that he asked for her permission. So that is something they both agree on, that he just walked up and put the video in her face and was like, here's
how much of a common courtesy it is. When you go to Reddit asks you to filter that out. The spoilers, NSFL, NSFW. Yeah. We get them both to stop us from seeing something we don't want to see.
You know what's funny about NSFW? It means not safe for work, which is what Jamie Heath
showed her. He showed her an NSFW.
Jamie Heath showed her the NSFW video.
That's funny. You're absolutely right about that.
Okay, so Blake Lively had to file a motion to compel and then a motion for sanctions. I guess it was the same one, where she was telling the judge, like, hey, so he showed a portion of a video, but that's not what I saw. According to Blake Lively, she's like, this is not what he showed me.
When you say he showed it, for discovery, he turned over a portion
to the court.
Yeah.
A portion. And she reviewed it and she was like, but that doesn't look like what he showed me.
Right.
So she wants all of the video that he has of this event because she wants to be able to recognize what she was shown so that she can be accurate in her storytelling to the jury. To be like, this is exactly what was shown. This is why I misunderstood this. And my first reaction was like, is he showing me porn? Right?
Yeah, of course.
Before she could figure out what
the hell you see a naked woman in a tub and you're like, the first thing you think is, this must be porn.
He brought no context. It was a naked woman. Her legs were spread.
Absolutely.
That's what she
saw.
Of
course. I mean, it's pornographic in nature, obviously, until you understand it.
Until you understand it. But he didn't give her any context, right?
No.
Okay, well, so the judge has ruled in favor and also denied in part her motion for sanctions. And so what the judge said is like, yes, Jamie Heath has to provide the court with this the entire video, every portion of the video that he has.
Yes.
So that it can be reviewed. And so the jury can actually see what was shown instead of like some other version that she wasn't shown. Also,
Right.
he is saying that Blake Lively does get her attorney's fees covered by Jamie Heath's attorney because she shouldn't have had to ask. They should have just provided it in the first place. So the judge was like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, filing a motion to compel was expensive.
Yeah.
Cost thousands upon thousands of dollars.
She also was asking the judge to
Good
rule...
pair of shoes.
Yeah. Lively was also asking the judge to rule about whether he could be prohibited from arguing about the video and saying to the jury what it was in the context of why he likes this video and why he wanted to show it to her. Because she feels like that would be prejudicial because he didn't tell her that. So the context of what this video is about and what it means to him is kind of inconsequential for the story because she wasn't provided that
And the judge
information.
denied that because we can't scare people because you got scared.
The judge denied it, not saying that. He just said, you're not going to control how this guy presents his evidence in the court. Like,
Yeah, well, I'm saying you can't try to simulate a similar experience where the jury gets to learn it the same way you did. You know, you've got to
And he's just like, you're going to argue your case. He's going to argue his. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So she didn't win that part. I thought that was a really weird thing to ask for anyway. But the Baldoni fans are shrieking because they're saying that Blake Lively is now going to, that as a result of this, even though Jamie Heath already put in discovery some portion of that video, now they're saying that Blake Lively is to blame for invading Jamie Heath's wife's privacy.
Yeah.
By having the full video, and everybody's like, my heart goes out to you. This is so damaging, and what a betrayal. I mean, what a violation of your privacy and all of this. And I totally agree, except that I'm not blaming Blake Lively for this.
How could you?
I'm blaming Jamie Heath for being so fucking frivolous with his private information, his private videos of his home and family. And these videos that are obviously very, very personal to his wife, and just fucking parading that around a workplace and making it a fucking piece of evidence in a litigation.
It's the first time
it's obvious who's responsible for this problem.
It's the first time I got a positive comment on It Ends With Lawsuits because somebody did this, like, as a mother, she was like, she said in the body of the text that she was trembling from, and triggered from this trauma, this traumatic idea.
It's mortifying.
So she took it very personally. And then at the end, she said, blaming Lyman for having a bias for allowing this, she said that, everyone should brace themselves because clearly this means that, they're about to get some terrible news about Justin Baldoni's summary judgment. And I had to respond, of course. But the first thing I responded to was, I'll get to that in a second, Sponge. Sponge is asking about Don's Plum, I'll get to that. Where was I? I'm sorry. Can you help me out? Can you bail me out? I need to get bailed out right now.
You made a comment on some thread where somebody was talking about how they were personally triggered.
I said, well,
and
if you're so deeply affected, thank you. If you're so deeply affected, if you're so deeply embarrassed and upset for Mrs. Heath, how did you feel about him showing it to her in the first place? It's the first time I got a positive comment. So a commenter came back and ran back and said, I'm fucking disgusted right now. How can anyone blame anyone other than Jamie Heath? That is a personal. If my husband, she went to tell it. If my husband showed my birthing video to anybody.
There's so many husbands who are hearing it right now where they're like,
don't you fucking do that.
No, not even scolding, but just like, can you believe that he did this? And there's a bunch of dudes who would be like, why the fuck would you do that?
Why would you do that?
It's just the most insane. The more that I learn about Jamie Heath, it just puts a lot of, so he was like a kind of a co-host on Man Enough. And I was always really stunned by his comments because I was like, man, is this guy kind of a dummy? He really doesn't get feminism. It's just like super easy concept seemed to like be over his head. And I was like, oh no, that's
it really is an easy
concept. It really does seem like I was on the Man Enough podcast. I was like, oh, well, they're just kind of like they're trying to introduce concepts for discussion, right? Like, of course they know better. Like, they're just trying to talk about it because they have a they have a podcast where they talk these things over. But then the more I read about his from his deposition and the way that he answers questions, and then this thing, like, so Blake Lively alleged, this is how I took a screenshot to compare. Lively's story goes like this. This is really short, okay? I just want to share this with you. The comparison of the two versions of events, okay? So Lively's story goes, Mr. Heath approached Miss Lively and her assistant on set and started playing a video of a fully nude woman with her legs spread apart. Miss Lively thought she was being shown, this thought is in italics and bolded for emphasis, okay? Miss Lively thought she was being shown he was showing her pornography and stopped him. Mr. Heath explained that the video was his wife giving birth.
After showing it.
Yes. Miss Lively was alarmed and asked Mr. Heath if his wife knew he was sharing the video, to which he replied, "She isn't weird about this stuff." And this is the part that gets under my skin more than like that, and like Justin Baldoni claiming that he can speak to Blake Lively's dead father. That one and this one, oh, don't worry, my wife isn't weird about this stuff. So I just want to share with everybody who is very upset for Jamie Heath's wife about having her very, very personal family video being shared to the courts and now like a topic of discussion. That according to her husband, Mr. Heath, she isn't weird about this stuff. It's just the most like,
it's disturbing.
It's just, I just hope she throws the whole man away.
It's true, Junk Farm saying, don't forget that Wayfair originally lied and said that she made the whole thing up. And on the same topic, they said that she was in shorts, and no, she was not.
No. Listen, I'm not even done.
And she did have a patch, and that is in their summary judgment.
Yeah. So they conceded that.
That she had a piece of fabric covering her genitals. That is not shorts. That is a patch. And it's skin colored, by the way.
Okay, I just want to continue with this comparison. I got a little derailed because I was so incensed that he said, "Don't worry, my wife isn't weird about this stuff." Like, fuck you. Okay, so Lively was alarmed and asked Mr. Heath if his wife knew he was sharing the video, to which he replied, "She isn't weird about this stuff," as if Miss Lively was weird for not welcoming it. Miss Lively and her assistant excused themselves, stunned that Mr. Heath had shown them a nude video. Okay, this is this next one is Justin Baldoni's. So in his complaint, this is how he describes it.
This is his version of events.
Lively continued with an outrageous and knowingly false suggestion that she was shown pornography or naked images of Heath's wife on set. They concede that she was naked in that video. He said in the deposition, when he's asked, was she wearing anything? He said, well, the baby is on her chest and the baby has a towel over it. So he doesn't answer the question about whether she is wearing anything.
It doesn't matter, dude. If she thought she was naked.
Yeah, I know. Unbelievable. Okay. So this, he said, Justin Baldoni's lawsuit says, this allegation knowingly and maliciously misrepresents an instance when, in connection with the birthing scene, Heath, at the director's request, attempted to show Lively a video that demonstrated the director's vision for the scene that had been shot the day before.
Yeah,
the previous
this is all
scene.
Ego. I've said this from the, this is all fucking ego. And it's also, I think this is how, when you talked about like, maybe he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. This guy, I think, was trying to do some damage control.
And he made it worse.
Because I think that they made her feel really uncomfortable. And they fucking knew that when they wanted to get her pants off for the birthing scene. And when they wanted to get her in the tub, they got her fucking upset. They knew they got her upset.
Yeah.
And so this is him the next day attempting to justify his hurt ego over it.
Yeah, probably.
That's all it is. I know I'm that guy. I'm that guy will run after you. Here's my point. The only difference between me and this fucking guy is I would actually ask your permission. I would say, hey, I want to show you a video. I had to ask my wife. She's cool with it. Like I would have all of my fucking ducks in a row before I would even think to do something like that.
Or you just fucking don't.
Truth be told, I wouldn't.
I know, because it's like, who wants to? They have, seriously, I had to look it up. The longest that they could have possibly even known each other at this point is 6 months. And they've only been working together at this point for like a fucking week or two, you know?
Come
Like,
on.
I don't know how long her and Jamie Heath had been hanging out.
Yeah.
She's been hanging out with Baldoni a ton because they're collaborators, but I don't know if Jamie Heath is just a guy who like shows up on set or occasionally or what.
Well, he's a producer. He's definitely there every day.
Yes, I know. So
You
like
can-
the
you can make
longest.
that assumption.
So if it was just an on-set relationship, then maybe they've known each other for 2 weeks. It's just weird. Okay, so
Excuse me.
according to them, they continue to say since Lively said that she wanted to see it later, and as she was eating, of course, what she saw was the first image at the start of the video, which shows Heath's wife, himself, and their baby after his wife gave birth at home, a natural birth or a home birth. To characterize this,
Well, this is what he's claiming she saw.
he's
That is
claiming,
not
yeah.
what she claims.
That's right.
And I'm assuming then that that is probably the video that they provided for Discovery, and that she is saying
Yep.
is not consistent with the video that she saw. So that's
Yeah.
why she subpoenaed the whole video.
Yep.
This is fucking critically important because you want to talk about cherry picking. He might be sitting there going, "Oh, let's what's the least offensive thing here? Let's make this woman look like a fucking jerk off while we're all holding a baby and singing and praying."
They're also excusing that she said, "Yeah, I'll see it later," as if that's somehow some admission that it didn't bother her, instead of her just like trying to shoo Heath away. Like
Yeah.
pacify him, like placate him for just in the meantime.
Everybody-
yeah, I'll look at that later.
Yeah, no one will see that differently. I mean, everybody does the same shit. Everyone's like, I'll call you back. I promise I'll call you back this time.
Yeah, exactly. I'll call you back. Anyway, it's just super fucking bonkers, and I cannot believe that this is what people are talking about, as if there isn't one person who's responsible.
John Farm bringing the logic. What birth video starts at the end?
I know.
This is exactly
I can't believe
right.
it.
This is exactly true. And by the way, he whipped out the phone. He's sitting there and like getting the exact frame. So I hardly doubt that he started the video. You know, his fucking thick ass fingers probably just bumbled through some of the. Nah, come on, no one's buying that shit.
They did provide a screenshot in the timeline, the timeline document, and it is a screenshot of a woman in a birthing tub with a baby on her chest, and you can see her knees are still open, obviously because she's comfortable, trying to be comfortable as you could be. And it's just like, if I just saw, it was like a dark
The whole
video
thing makes me
of like a
uncomfortable.
nude woman.
Talking about it makes me uncomfortable.
I know. It's just
I would
horrible.
want no part
and
of
I
it.
cannot believe that Jamie Heath thought that it was appropriate to do anything like this in a workplace. Like,
No.
what fucking,
Well,
that is
look,
so bonkers.
It's a little different in Hollywood, certainly on a set. If this was before the shot, then there would be some credibility to his motive at least.
You're saying it's a little different in Hollywood. You're not talking about fucking Burning Man. Like,
No.
this is a fucking...
It is a little different in Hollywood. I'm saying
film
that if
set.
you're on a set and you're making movies about murder and you have a specific murder scene in mind, you might take your set director and say, "I'm going to show you some weird ass photographs, but this is kind of what I'm thinking."
That is a good point.
You're in
But
a
that
different...
it happened, that nobody is disputing the fact that it happened the day after they did they finished filming the birthing scenes is kind of like a smoking pew-pew.
Let me say,
about
it would have
that.
been
Like,
entirely
it's
different.
not-
It would
that doesn't make sense.
To me, it would have been not entirely different, but I would say like it would be less offensive if he was like, "Can we do a couple searches on Google?" Or I did a couple searches on Google to get an example of somebody who fucking published this. Maybe it's one of them website, like a service for it. Maybe they have some videos of it.
Stock video or something.
Yeah, or whatever it is, and they're like, "Hey, let me show you this." But that he whipped out his wife, his own personal life like that, is just where the line gets so absolutely crossed for me.
I don't think for a second that any of this private home video is going to be shown to the public. So at least that's good. Like this poor woman who's gotten dragged in by her husband into this ridiculous allegation is just like, she hopefully won't have her privacy.
I hope she finds what she's looking for on that tape. I hope she's able to remember specifically what it was. I hope she's, perfectly honest about it. Bobo, by the way, brings up something I've said time and again about this shit, which is, why are you trying to talk a woman who's given birth 4 times in her lifetime? 4 times, which is well above the average,
I know,
ridiculously well above the average. This woman is a veteran birther.
What's really
she knows how to do it.
What's really cool about this allegation is that Justin Baldoni's lawsuit doesn't dispute that Jamie Heath, fucking dumbass that he is, like goes over to Justin Baldoni and he was like, "Hey, what do you think if I show Blake this birthing video?" And Justin Baldoni was like, "Yeah, totally, show it to her." Like they both You know, they put their heads together and they both agreed to do the
No,
stupidest thing
yeah,
imaginable.
because both of their egos were damaged because they had the conversation
Amazing.
afterward. They probably, now, if you recall, the very next morning is the scene that we saw and that, you know, took the internet by storm for the last couple of days, where Justin Baldoni, makes light of his lack of respect for sexual harassment policy in his own company.
I don't think it's the next morning. I think it was that morning. I think it was that morning and she was at lunch, and then it was that evening they still used the bar location to film that slow dance. I think they were in that bar location that day.
So to the point, the very next, you know, fucking opportunity he's hanging out with,
what a fucking day.
He starts dishing on sexual harassment policy.
I know.
So, and this is where I always make this argument, and I've made it on several forums, which is, you know, it's not that Blake Lively took control of anything. It's that they lost control. And it does bother me that people can't see this very plainly obvious fact. You know, I sent a paragraph over to somebody today arguing with me who wants to believe that she stole the movie from him. And I'm trying to explain the only thing that Blake Lively got that she didn't already have was an upgrade from executive producer to producer. That is the only thing she got out of this.
Yeah.
She didn't get any more money.
Yeah.
She didn't get anything other than a producer credit, which quite frankly only helps her in the conversation she's going to be having with people in Hollywood. You know, the conversations where we see her in interviews talking about authorship. So that's the kind of chirping in the ear that people were going to get loads of after it ends with us, were it not for this fallout. She'd have been walking around town talking about her PGA credit on that movie and the authorship of that movie that she so felt such a, you know, important need to, you know, claim.
The Junk Farm is asking, when was Blake Lively's email to her friend when she's calling them all clowns? Was that the same day? I have to build out like a timeline.
We got to get the board up. Well, listen, we're preparing for the trial now. We're beginning to prepare.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to put something together. Obsidian is a really great app where you can kind of make like a cluster map.
Yeah.
Like one of those mind map type things where you can sort of like connect everything. It can be like the detective's crazy wall, but it's like all just something you can zoom in and out of.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'll use, and then maybe we'll be able to pull it up and navigate it for people.
I'm hoping that we can, you know, put together some folks who will want to join us, kind of panel-like, you know, and, you know, I'm planning for the trial now.
Yeah, right.
I'm getting geared up for it. I'm doing everything I can.
She's gonna win like summary judgment or something. Oh wait, she didn't even file for it, right? Did she miss it?
No, she's not going to file for it. This is going to trial. I
think she deserves that, man.
From the very beginning, we said that she was going to take it all the way to trial because she really has no choice, you know?
Yeah, she has to prove.
She has to win.
She has to prove that
the whole kit and caboodle. So there you go.
Phil Bumling's asking, can you imagine Lively being on this set 20 odd years into her career, wondering what fucking bonkers things these dudes were going to do next?
Yeah, I mean, and certainly just be like,
her assistant probably has a long career too.
I think it's quite possible that it was more like just being exhausted by the fact that it wasn't what it was supposed to be, just in general. Like I think it's more heartbreak. I really think that she went through heartbreak on this production. I think that she had these expectations that she was going into a kumbaya, a place that accepted a woman's ambition. What was the Taylor lyric? The recent one in the new album.
I don't know.
Delicate knows it. The lyric about her going too close to the sun or whatever.
Oh, she girl bossed too close to the sun.
Something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that she was like, I truly believe that she got into this situation believing that she wasn't going to be susceptible to that kind of bullshit, because it is bullshit. Every single, and I'm going to say it over and over again through now and through the trial, every single set I've ever been on, and really any fucking job I've ever been on in my life, whether it was in show business or otherwise, ambition was always present, and nobody was told not to do it. Everybody was encouraged to be ambitious. And every single dude on a set, whether they're actors or whether they're PAs, if they had the ambition and the wherewithal to execute, they would work their way up in a similar fashion that Blake Lively did on It Ends With Us, and they would be rewarded for it. They would be complimented for it. They'd be, I know. They'd be hailed for it. They'd be like, man, that guy, he showed up here, was an associate producer. Motherfucker's a producer.
Can I tell you something that I think about a lot with Blake Lively having to navigate these two men who are just like fucking, they've like gone rogue and they're acting like idiots, and she has to kind of like navigate it. I feel like if you're on set and you're the star of a movie and you have to be an actor and play a role and remember your lines and make sure that you remember the choreography and all of that, but then you also have to be an actor on your downtime every time you talk to your director, because he's so fucking fragile and he gets so offended so easily, and he'll just like punish you for whatever offense, you know? Because there's a very specific type of exhaustion. I don't know if you've ever experienced this before. Maybe it's more common with like women who've worked in like, I don't know what I'm saying. But there's a type of dude who is awful and constantly makes inappropriate jokes, and you're stuck with him. You have to work with him. So you'll just kind of like placate him with like smiles and laughs, because you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's what he wants.
I try not to respond to it.
But check it out. But when you do, because you've decided that that's probably like the least difficult way of dealing with this person, and the least like like the least opportunity that he can make your life miserable, but he's also happens to be very smart, so he can pick up on the fact that you're placating him. I feel like that's Justin Baldoni. He's like super smart, and he's also really wary, and I think he gets offended so easily, but he doesn't just want to be glad-handed. He wants to be dealt with honestly by people, right? He wants people's authenticity. So you have to it's just impossible to deal with somebody like this, because what he doesn't have is a connection with his own authentic self, where he recognizes like, oh, I'm the one who's like making a big deal out of this, not them, you know?
Yeah.
So everybody around him just kind of has to like handle him so gently. You can see this in the prayer groups too. Like they never push back or ask questions about anything that he's bringing to them. They only give him like this, like passive.
Well, it's just all agreeable. It's all agreeable.
Pacify him.
Yeah, it's all agreeing with him and affirmations. Yes. It's all affirmations. She set you up.
It is
you
fucking
were ambushed.
Exhausting to deal with somebody like that. I wonder if
not a single question of like, well, what could have possibly happened to give her a bad impression? Like, is there any way that is there any conversation that you can have with her? Is there a way to sit her down? Have you guys thought about doing something like mediation or like whatever kind of form of therapy that might be able to come in and solve this problem? You don't want this to get out of control, buddy. But none of that. They were literally literally, but they were basically like stoking the fire.
That would be real help, right? That would be real friendship. Like if they were trying to help him figure out how he could manage his side of it in order to make it better, instead of just blaming everybody else around him. It's fucking weird. Anyway, I probably went on too long about that.
You've gone on too long. Can you back off? Listen, why don't we do this? Why don't we have two major things to get to right now, which is the deposition.
I think I would like it if you would talk to, who was it that was asking you questions about Don's Plum?
Oh, thank you, Sponge. I'm so sorry. Let me get back to that.
3-part question.
Yes.
Okay. Was John Schindler nice? Did he secretly direct Don's Plum? And do you still speak to him?
John Schindler was nice. John Schindler did not secretly direct anything close to Don's Plum. No, he had no. He had a very minor creative contribution to Don's Plum. Very minor, in my opinion. He kind of helped with one major shot in the movie, which annoyed me, and which I write about in my book. And then he. But anyway, he. What John Schindler did was he line produced Don's Plum, and he did that at a beast level. And I liked him very much.
A beast level?
He was an absolute beast.
That's great.
Literally like some of the best crew members you could ever dream of having on a no-budget film. An impossibly good crew. He really pulled so many favors in for us. He set us up to succeed in every possible way. Don's Plum would not be the movie it is today without his involvement, but not at a directorial level, not even close. But at a producer level, he was a significant contributor from top to bottom. And I considered him a friend. In fact, I would go as far as to say I loved the guy. And so, yeah, I think he was nice. What was the other part?
Do you still talk to him?
I don't. But I would welcome a conversation with him. I don't think he's very interested in speaking with me. For some reason, I became the scapegoat for everybody. It's a very strange thing that happened in my life. And it really has damaged me in ways I can't even express.
Yeah, they just told a story about you being responsible, right?
Yeah, everyone blamed me for this thing. And I'm not to blame. I didn't do anything wrong. I made a movie to the best of my capability. I honored every agreement I made with every single human being involved. that I, to the extent that I could, of course. And yeah, man, I never fucked anybody over. But for whatever reason, people want to blame me. So I wrote them a book, Two Real Hollywood Memoirs, right behind me. You could read it. You could read it on Kindle Unlimited for absolutely nothing. And they give you like a 3-month free trial. And although the book seems big, it reads super fast. It reads like a lightning because it's dialogue heavy. I'm a very, I'm a good dialoguer. I can write good dialogue. It's probably my strength.
I think it's great. I think it's a page turner.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good book. Go read the reviews if you're interested, or don't. Just read the book. It doesn't matter. Whatever you, or don't do anything. You know what? Don't do anything. I thank you for everything, your kindness. But yeah, John Schindler, cool guy. Did not co-direct the movie whatsoever. Did not deserve the credit. Should not have gotten that credit. I don't speak to him, but I'd welcome any conversation he'd like to have with me. Maybe we could. You know what I love if I spoke with John Schindler? I would love to bring him on live for sure.
Just talk about aliens.
And just well, he might, but.
I want to talk to him about aliens.
But, I would like to bring him on the show and relive some of the great stuff that we went through, I don't know if John Schindler doesn't like me. That's a question for John Schindler. But I don't talk to him anymore. And I think part of why, I think John Schindler, like he wasn't great in the interview. New York Post. He was very angry.
Yeah.
He said things like, "Where's my negative?" John Schindler didn't own anything. John Schindler was a guy we hired.
You're talking about the interview on The Curse of Don's Plum documentary the New York Post made? Yeah.
John Schindler, he didn't own anything. He got his shares because he was contributing so greatly to the movie, but he wasn't an owner of the movie. He didn't originate the idea. He wasn't a writer. He wasn't anything other than the line producer of the film. And he was, somewhat of a mentor to both RD and I. But, not any, like, that's sort of part and parcel for Hollywood and working on a set. The young people get mentored instantly. And especially if those young people are in influential spots, whether it's acting or above the line. And young people get above the line by virtue of, favors they can bring, money they can bring, ideas that they had, scripts that they wrote, stories they came up with. So there's many different ways in which these young people like myself at 25 can sort of sneak into these like power positions, and they need mentors. I needed a mentor, and John Schindler was my very first mentor. And then Gary Lowe became my second mentor, and the guy who really, I think, rounded me out and gave me what I feel are, the fundamentals of producing that I still use today.
What about David Stutman? Follow-up question.
You can ask any questions about this movie that you want. I'm here for that reason. I'm here to talk about the movie and the book. So glad to have them. Yeah, David Stutman. What about him?
Same question.
I'm not. So what was David Stutman nice? David Stutman had nice moments in his life. Like, yeah, there were moments when I thought he was nice. Overall, David Stutman and I did not get along very well. I didn't feel like he was a very trustworthy person to me. I didn't feel as though he was forthright to everybody around him. I also felt like he didn't put the work in to deserve much of the credit and money that he got, but he did perform a couple of very vital, contributions. The first, of course, that it was his underlying material, the Saturday Night Club. He and Toud Beckman wrote a short script that was going to be a feature film. And it was on that sample of script, because it wasn't a whole script. It was like a couple of scenes, and it was on those couple of scenes that we based the entire movie. And so David Stutman should get great credit for that. And he does, because he gets a writing credit, even though he didn't really write Don's Plum whatsoever. He did, however, create the characters and wrote the underlying material on which Don's Plum was based. So credit to him on that. The other thing he did was he raised the money. He got us $40,000. And absolutely nobody other than Leonardo DiCaprio who could have written a check for that before blinking. Mm-hmm. Nobody could afford $40,000 to throw at a movie in our company. And so that he was able to raise that money and give us a chance at making the movie was a massive contribution. So once again, Don's Plum could not exist without David Stutman. He was an incredibly huge contributor. I'm not particularly fond of him today, nor was I back then. I feel like that is a very mutual feeling between us. And I think part of the reason that we have this gap in in a mutual reception is because we are incredibly different in terms of our approach to things. well, I'm just not going to say anything further because I'm certainly going to go into like the disparaging thing. And I don't want to disparage the guy. Didn't love him, but glad we crossed paths. Todd Beckman from the documentary, son of a McDonald's man who seems very sarcastic at all times. Todd Beckman spent no time on Don's Plum. Todd Beckman has no business even talking about it.
It's really amazing how he speaks like he has knowledge, but he doesn't, right?
No,
you're saying that
he doesn't.
You were there all the time and he was absent all the time.
I was the movie.
Yeah.
Right? Me and RD were the movie.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Nothing happened with the movie without you guys.
Without the two of us.
Yeah.
And he and I, RD and I, were inseparable.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like the Coen brothers in terms of like bond. There was nothing separating us.
So in that documentary, when they've made Todd Beckman the other side of the story, and he has all these things to share, this like perspective.
Yeah.
It's based on nothing, right? Because he literally wasn't there.
It's based on conversations he had with David Stutman, between him and David Stutman. That's all. The only person he could have gotten really anything from, in my opinion, and maybe he could enlighten me on maybe a couple of other people he spoke to, but he was not around for any of it. I remember him being there on day one when we shot the dolly scene where he walks. When we opened the movie Don's Plum, Todd Beckman is the guy that gets up from the stool and walks to the exit, and we follow him to pick up on Sarah and Brad, Jenny and Scott,
mm-hmm.
who are at the table waiting for the others to arrive.
I love that scene because she's playing harmonica, right?
It's a beautiful opening.
It's so great.
So, and that shot was gorgeous, man. Steve Adcock fucking nailed that.
Mm-hmm.
So, just absolutely beautiful stuff. That's Todd Beckman. That's his contribution. You know, again, I don't understand.
So he was there on set the first day.
Yeah. And he may have been there all weekend. I never saw him though. And like, if he was there, he was just there peripherally. He had no engagement with the movie. None. He was not there for rehearsals. He was not there for any of the writing. I had no interactions with him. I would say that his involvement in the entire year and a half project was amounted to just a couple of days.
It's super weird because the way that he talks, it's like he's in producers' meetings.
He had, nothing to do with it other than his dad financed it, which obviously that's a big deal.
But he wasn't around either, right?
And that's why he got a credit, co-producer.
No, but he wasn't around either, right?
No, it was in Germany.
Yeah, weird.
His dad was in Germany. So yeah, Todd Beckman was an absolute, why that guy, yeah, I have no respect for him after that, after his contribution to The Curse of Don's Plum. I thought it was awful.
Would you like to, do you want to move on to the deposition?
Thank you for those questions.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Do check out the book. If you like all of this story, I assure you the book will blow you away. I don't know if it'll blow you away, but you'll find it entirely entertaining.
Erica has an update for us about the David murder case.
Oh.
You remember?
Of course. Oh, no, I know David, the password, yeah.
He's got the password name?
Yeah, it's David's password. I guarantee you that's his password.
Reports are coming out now that David is now being considered a suspect.
Oh my God. Well, we had to know that.
I mean, that is no revelation.
No, I've been waiting for it. I've been waiting for it, with bated fucking breath. I guess I should have been, there it is. David, investigators view him as a suspect in Celeste Rivas, apparent homicide. Oh my. You killed a girl, did you? We'll find out. We're gonna follow that case. I've been following it from the start. Yeah, you gotta be
careful though, man. Innocent until proven guilty is a real thing. And
I said, did you do it?
Just
he's right now. He's not even charged. He's only a suspect at this point.
Yeah.
So
I know it's very important.
But she was dismembered in his car, and he didn't report it stolen.
Oh yeah, I know. It looks really bad for him.
It's bad.
But I've just seen enough stories where
she was 14,
where cops will just accuse the person that they think did it, even though they don't have evidence. Like, I don't know. I just don't trust the cops. Is that so wrong?
I didn't know that TMZ was so right wing.
Oh, Cosmic Urgency is saying deposition. OMG, review the movie instead.
Yeah, we could do the review first. Let's do that first.
Okay.
For the love of Cosmic Urgency, we'll do that. All right. Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
All right. It Ends With Us, starring Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, directed by Justin.
A film by Justin Baldoni.
Baldoni, and written by Chrissy. What's her name? Martin? No.
Christy Hall.
Christy Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Christy or Chrissy?
Christy.
Christy Hall.
Chrissy Martin is a boxer.
I haven't read the script, but I saw what they shot. Okay, so let's get to it. It Ends With Us. So obviously going in with all of this shit behind it, I tried to leave all that at the door, as I do often when I watch a movie. I got used to that in Hollywood, trying to like, okay, my friends are in this, fucking drop it off. You know, it's hard to do, but like you try to do it, and you try to like put yourself in a place where I'm a consumer.
Justin Baldoni comes on screen, and you're like, oh, I know that guy.
He was a fucking asshole. So it ends with us. Well, and also my review or my impression of this movie is based on what the movie is. In other words, I'm not going to compare this movie to any of the greats. So when I'm going to score the movie, and I'm going to score the movie based on a score that I believe it deserves for the kind of movie it is. And I really put this movie in the sort of like the chick flick is a chick flick to me. This is a chick flick. So I guess that's the best way to put it, because it's not a romance. It's not a rom-com, obviously. It's not a romance movie, even though it's built like one. And so the best I could do is call it a chick flick. Unless is that offensive?
No, I think it's in the same, like, it seems like it's in the same world as like Sex and the City. Like, it seems like it's in the same family.
I would say that's very accurate, that it's in the same sort of, I think it's
the same genre.
It's got a little more serious tone to it, but it's in the same kind of genre. Yeah, and I think it's sort of pandering to that audience.
Yeah.
Okay. So I liked it.
You liked?
Yeah, I liked it. Ends with us. I mean, I liked it as a piece of entertainment. You know, I think I could pick it apart all day long. There's so many things that
I'm very interested in your filmmaker's perspective.
There's so many things that I think are wrong with it. Like that, you know, things in the writing and stuff. So I can pick it all apart, and it gets a fair amount of deductions for those things. But overall, I was fucking entertained by it. You know, it's the directing was rather predictable, I guess you could say. Predictable. You know, there's nothing really special going on, but it was well paced, and you know, they understood scene composition. They understood how to get in and out of tension, and it was well done. It's a good movie. It looked like $26 million. It didn't look like, it looked like the movie was made for the money that it had. You know, when you look at things that have $300 million budget, $200 million, $150 million budget, you're like, what the fuck? Superman's budget was mind-boggling to me, because there was barely a fucking human being in it. But here's this movie, and it's got lots of fucking extras at times, although that's one of my criticisms of it. There were like things like, you know, Lily's store was very dead to me, and I know that there's some thematic purpose to that with the book, but it was also dead to me in terms of patronage. You know, I didn't know how the girl could be succeeding, and there are other little nitpicks like that. Thought it was well paced. I thought the first Blake live movie I've ever seen, I thought she was great. I thought she did a really good job. Look, you know, there's no Academy Award kind of shit going on here. No award whatsoever, but just a really solid, adequate performance. I felt the character. I felt what she was going through. You know, I went through it with her. I thought she did a really, really nice job. I'll say the same for Justin Baldoni. I thought he did a fucking good job, especially as I was able to learn a little more about Ryle, because you've been reading the book and reading some of these parts out loud. And the guy really nailed it. Now, maybe, you know, some jokes might fly about, oh, yeah, maybe the apple doesn't fall, whatever, you know, or maybe like attracts like, or whatever it is. You could make all these kinds of jokes about it, but I'm just going to look at it from a guy who watched a movie with an actor in it, and I thought the actor did a really good job.
You thought Baldoni played
Baldoni played a good part, as they would say in New Jersey. Played a good part, man. He did. He did a nice job, and as I'm watching the movie, as the movie's going on, I'm like, wow, I'm genuinely enjoying the movie. I get it. Everyone's ripping it apart, and I don't give a fuck what other people think of the movie. I really don't. You know, when I watch a movie, I just want to be like, hey, did I enjoy the ride? Did I get it? You know, that's all I'm interested in. I go on the big rides and I go on the little rides, and it doesn't matter which one excites me. It's just that I just want to be interested in it. I want to have had fun. And it doesn't matter if the little ride everybody's like, oh, fuck, the little ride looks stupid. If I get on the little ride and have a good time, good enough for me. And that's how I feel about this movie. I thought it was a good movie. It's a movie I would recommend seeing for people who I know might enjoy a movie like this. It's not a movie I would normally pursue whatsoever. So it's a movie that would normally fly over my head. You know, it's not a sort of a genre that I would normally pursue. And I'd still not a genre I'll likely pursue unless it's got the cast and it's got the, you know, a reason for me to watch it, as this one did. But as the movie's going on, I'm thinking, wow, this is just the most epic fumble in the history of fucking Hollywood, bro. This guy had it all, dude. This guy was about to hit so big, and all he had to do was not make sexist fucking jokes. That
director was going to have a fucking career, dude.
Was going to have a big career, bro.
That was his third time directing a film.
With a $40 million box office.
He would have had more opportunities.
Unfucking believable piece of fucking life and luck, and to have it squandered in the way they have is absolutely shameful.
Absolutely foolish.
Shameful and foolish. It's unbelievable. As this movie finishes, I'm
it's just like a huge fall.
Take all the controversy out, take the Colleen Hoover hate out, take all of the bullshit out of this movie, and it's a totally serviceable movie, serviceable movie. It hit all the points. It did its job. Yeah, it's whatever. It's cheesy this, and some of the writings. Look, they fucked up in a couple of ways. But they were also clever in others. For example, when you start the movie, can I spoil? I can't spoil. There should be no spoil. So I'm not going to spoil. But I'll say there's some things that were missing. Atlas and the way in which we learn, the way in which he's introduced into the whole plot, not just her side story. But when he kind of bursts into the scene. You don't know, it's confusing because of the way that they cleverly chose to set up the domestic violence and the uncovering of it throughout the story. They do a really interesting, he made, I don't know if it's a director's choice, if it was the writer's choice, but they made a very interesting choice in how to reveal the domestic violence in the movie that I really liked. Like, it's something I'll think about. I tried to do it in small group a little bit, actually, and they pulled it off way better. Part of the reason was because, well, I won't get into that. That
was another thing that I'm not taking over because I want to continue, but I'll never remember to comment on this if I don't speak up.
Go ahead, please.
So another thing that I thought that was really excellently done as an adaptation, because there's a lot of flashbacks in the book, right? So it's told in like these two separate, like it's told in a bunch of flashbacks,
right? Non-linear,
interspersed,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they adapted that really, really well. I think that's a huge challenge for screenwriters to adapt a book that has a bunch of flashbacks in it, because you can't do it exactly in time with the book because the pacing is different. So, but it's all very key for revealing this information, and it's like. So in the book, she's telling the past story through these diary entries, and the way that they adapted it in the absence of these diary entries was just exceptional. I thought that they did a really good job in the adaptation that way.
Shannon asked what I thought of Blake's wardrobe. Well, so here's where the criticism hits hard, because I thought the styling in the movie was awful.
Oh my God, she was styled fucking terribly. Yeah. The whole time I was like, what is she wearing and why? That doesn't make any sense.
Biggest mistake in the directing was, I think he let sometimes we get carried away with incorporating all the themes of the book and then our personal themes.
Well, so here's the thing. So,
theme. And it's just like, fucking relax.
So she has a sense of style that has, Lily is very interested in death as a concept. Like, yes. So the reason why her flower shop looks the way it does,
because it opens up with the death of her father.
Yeah,
and
it's interesting. So the reason why her flower shop is so elaborate and kind of goth is because of this thing. So her style has to sort of have these like really amazing colorful elements, and I don't know why they didn't go like sort of dark floral with it, and instead they put her in these like really strange like contrasting mismatched shit. Like I don't know, man, it didn't translate. I think her choice to be wealthier worked, because in the book she's impressed with Ryle because he has money. And I think that I'm really glad that they cut that from the movie, because I felt like that would have been too easy of an explanation for why she stayed with him after the abuse. She opens
up a floral shop. Yeah. In downtown Boston.
No,
or in a hip
what I mean is like
Boston.
It was a criticism for people when Blake Lively was wearing like fancy clothes, and I was like, well, if you don't show that she's rich, then that might be an excuse for why she stays in an abusive relationship. And when you give them like equal footing that way, then it kind of just like takes that consideration out, which I thought was helpful for the story.
Yeah, and Cosmic said Justin Baldoni was creepy. He was so creepy in the movie. Yeah, really he was supposed to be creepy, right. And it worked. And when you see the way he acted in the slow dance machine scene, it wasn't much different than the way Ryle came off in at least part of the scenes. It was. Let me correct myself there. It was so over the top in the slow dance machine. Machine. Why am I calling it machine?
Because you made the mistake once.
It's a slow dance machine. You get in there and you just automatically go into slow dance.
No, it's true. He was like, he never acted like that in public. No. In the movie or in the book.
Oh, in the movie. Like there's nowhere in the movie that Ryle behaves the way he did in that slow dance, where he's so horny on her. Mm-hmm. Not at all.
In public.
Including.
It's always in private.
The infamous rooftop scene, which I want to add to my review on that, just because Angela read for us the rooftop scene as was written in the book by Colleen Hoover. Much better in the book.
Much better in the
Much
book.
better in the book. Look, I'm not dissing on Ryan Reynolds and his writing ability, but she made a big hoopla out of a scene that was, it was okay. I mean, it was not a bad scene by any means. And there were some things I really liked about it. There was some clever writing in it. There was some funny in there that you could almost hear Ryan Reynolds' signature funny in it that worked. But overall, I thought that, especially after you read it, but even during and before even knowing that the scene in the book was stronger, and for a few reasons, including just general story reasons. But I also felt like so in that scene, and this isn't a spoiler, in that scene, she just blurts out something about Marciana cherries. It comes out of nowhere. I mean, completely out of fucking nowhere. And when she delivers the line, the whole thing felt awkward. I could tell that she struggled with the line. I'll bet you she couldn't figure out, and she delivers it pretty dry because there's no other way to do it.
Yeah, I think that
and then it just kind of throws the whole scene into like this weird recovery mode that
they kept doing that with the jokes. One of the things that they missed by not adapting the rooftop scene as it is in the book is that they actually bond about death, right?
Yeah.
Like in the book, he doesn't. Ryle meets her on a rooftop, right? It's their first meeting when they don't know each other, and so Ryle.
If you saw the trailer, he kicks over a chair.
Yeah, okay.
That's in that
I'm not
general
explain
meeting.
The whole thing. What I mean is that Ryle reveals to her that he has experienced death that day. And he doesn't know that because she hasn't revealed to him yet, but she does, that she also went to a funeral just that day of her father.
That's right.
And so I just feel like it was really amazing for them to bond unknowingly about this thing and then reveal to each other. And when they do, they introduce the concept of sharing a truth to each other, and they have like a tagline where they're like, give me the honest truth or something. I can't remember what the tagline is, and that carried through the entire rest of the book, and they just decided not to do that. So if you're a fan of the book and you go to watch the movie, you don't ever see them exchange this, tell me a truth, and this means that you have to be honest about this thing that you maybe you don't want to reveal. But that carries through the whole book, and it's missing from the movie. And so I don't know why they were so concerned in all of these emails and these text messages we're seeing in the evidence. They're so concerned about staying true to the book, but they just completely fucking leave like these huge things.
She's in her 30s. That's so far a departure from the book that you already had to make massive adjustments. No, and by the way, that was only made because Justin Baldoni was enticed to play Ryle by Colleen Hoover.
Dale, she can be 30 and still say, give me an honest truth or whatever the fucking saying is. There's a saying.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's very unique for this book that the two characters trade with each other all the way throughout, and it becomes a way for them to reveal things in secret to each other.
No,
and they've already been talking about they've been bonding over death, and then they have this thing, and all that shit is missing. And I don't know why they didn't decide to have. It would have made that first meeting so much richer if they had bonded over like their shared experience with death that day. Like why would you cut that out of the movie? It's
it was an odd choice to turn away from that. And
instead, they made it a fucking comedy scene. It's like fucking weird.
Right, which because you make the girl laugh, and because he ends up propositioning her for sex and all that stuff.
But he's never funny. I don't know why. I don't know why they wanted to make it funny.
Shannon says Blake took over the wardrobe. And I just want to clarify that. She didn't take over the wardrobe because the wardrobe is a massive job. It's a huge department. It has a whole bunch of people involved. They literally make clothing. It's not so simple as taking over the wardrobe. She did take more an active role in her wardrobe, possibly after the paparazzi caught those leaked photos where Baldoni himself mentioned something about they're all upset at her.
I also think that it's a little weird to accuse somebody of taking over the wardrobe when they're trying to get a better fit because they're like just a few months postpartum and maybe they don't fit the same measurements that they that their agent sent that they had before they had their baby. Yeah. Like it's a little weird to accuse somebody of doing something wrong when they just have to shop for a bigger size because they've grown because they're making a family. Like I just it's a really strange accusation. But as a filmmaker, that it's totally bullshit to say that an actor could take over the wardrobe when that's a department in the production that is controlled and run by people that are not this actor.
And listen,
like if she took control of something, that means that somebody had to make a massive fuck up and lose control of it, and that just didn't happen in this.
Because originally said Blake is going to make poop as a director. Well, she might. I think that she ought to stick to producing personally, and then kind of see where the directing goes from there. I don't know, man. The one big directing problem that I saw with this movie though was they got way carried away with the themes. They did not have to get so nuts about it. They could have chilled out, because I thought that it made the wardrobe like silly. And look, I mean, it was congruent with her book and the way, or her style of writing, which there's some leeway for it. But it definitely, like, her hair at times. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? She looks ridiculous. By the way, the casting was quite good. The other thing is, I really did. I thought the whole movie as a whole, like the movie as a whole, performances were perfectly adequate, and well, like sort of, the vibe and the tone was all like, I mean, it was a good movie.
Another thing I remember you saying that you liked that I agreed with was the score was really understated, and it was well placed. The most annoying thing is when you notice the score in a film, because you're not supposed to notice it. When it's done well, you don't fucking notice it. It just helps, it just sort of like makes you feel a certain way,
Yeah.
You really like the score. And I guess Blake's responsible for that score because Justin Baldoni complained about that.
Well, I guess they chose to go on a different path for a score. Again, not something totally unusual or unique to the post-production process.
Hinata said the stylist is Eric Damian, the former stylist for Gossip Girl and Young Carrie in Sex and the City. That's interesting. He slipped a lot and has been criticized lately. He dresses like Lily Bloom.
Yeah, well, he needs to stop. He needs to stop. Somebody needs to stop.
She's a gardener mixed with a trash collector in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the overalls, the
overalls made sense,
Yeah, I don't know. I thought she looked pretty ridiculous most of the time. I like the onesie scene actually. I just like the concept of that. It's like if I was a socialite, I'd go and do it again. Hey, listen, Ethan, enough out of you with that, all right?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares if you don't like her. Why are you here?
I know.
Like,
you could just go, man.
You don't have to hang out here, dude.
This lady is weird. Yeah, I know.
No,
man.
She's not, dude. You're weird.
I've been aware of that my whole life.
The one that's weird is you, Ethan. So, if one more comment like that, and one of the mods are going to take you out, fool. You're the one that's weird, bro. Don't be coming here and creeping people out. You know what I'm saying?
KK said Lily is a trash collector. What with her acquiring Ryle.
Well, that's kind of funny, and she works with dead flowers and stuff. So again, like, that's not trash, but it.
What is your Tiny Pineapples rating?
I give it. I'm giving it a 3.5 Tiny Pineapples. I'm giving it a really generous score.
And you're recommending people see it.
Yeah, and I think that especially if you're caught up in this case, but even if you're not caught up in this case and you like those kinds of movies, if you like romancy type movies, then this movie is a darker version of a romancy movie that I think works pretty much through and through. Even if it has some glaring holes and imperfections.
I believe that it was a good movie. I think it was a good adaptation. They fixed some things that I thought were wrong with the book that didn't make any sense. But then they also made some other choices that were only saved by really great acting. Everybody was a really great actor in this entire movie. There was nobody in this whole movie that I was like, ooh, that was kind of delivered a little rough, It was like everybody was fucking exceptional. And I feel like there were some choices that they made that, like I mentioned earlier, real departures from themes that go throughout in the book. One of the things I really enjoyed while we were helping you craft To Real Hollywood Memoir was when you could like pick up something from like chapter 1 or chapter 2 and then like recall it in chapter 25 or something, and have it be more significant. So you're reading, you're having a nice time, and you're like picking up all these little pieces of information, but you don't realize until later that was actually really consequential. Mm-hmm. So the book has a ton of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she likes to write.
They really had the opportunity. She's a great writer that way. I don't know how she cranks out books so much because they're well crafted that way. But they left a bunch of that shit on the table, and I don't know why. It would have been really darling.
It can be tedious.
In a movie.
It can be tedious in like, I wrote a script called I Am Loving You, which is a romancy movie, and in it there's this replica of a Purple Heart that this guy finds in a junkyard, and it carries throughout the whole thing, and it can be a pain in the ass. Like when you make a choice like that, you're like, fuck, what am I doing with this metal? Yeah. You just find yourself like carrying around some luggage because you had a couple of thematic ideas that you thought might work. And so I can just understand how, like, from a writing perspective, you're like, I just don't have room for it. There was criticism about the writing And, that was perfectly fucking fine, as far as an adaptation goes.
KK is saying, I'm confused about what you guys are saying about the rooftop scene. They do have naked truths. That's the phrase I couldn't remember.
Well, they do have it, but
they
it's
do
not...
have naked truths in it, and in the movie, and they do talk about death. The scene, the rooftop scene in the book, sort of like lays their bonding about that more strongly, and the naked truth thing doesn't get carried through as often as it does.
It felt like a non sequitur, really. Like, I know. It kind of pops in there, and I'm like, what? I didn't know. Like, in the book,
it was better rendered. Like, if they had just copied, I know that they can't, like, they decided to have scenes of her at the funeral, and in the book that she's not at we don't see her at the funeral. We just hear her tell the story about being at the funeral in this rooftop scene. So I understand that they couldn't have that part, but if they had literally just scripted the rooftop scene as it was in the book, minus that, it would have worked a lot better, I think.
I agree.
Why these people are beginning a relationship, because as it was, she was Lily, the character was like really testy with him. And that makes sense in the book, but it didn't make sense in the movie why she was so fucking testy and offended for like the first act.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was definitely that their execution of it was, well, again, it was this, I don't know what the original scene was written like. Maybe the original scene was more an adaptation of the book. And, maybe it just needed some work.
I'm curious about it.
I would definitely love to see that.
I just downloaded the screenplay today. It was in evidence. So,
but it's going to have it's going to have Ryan Reynolds' rooftop revisions. I just think that the rooftop scene was not the big, it's not this great scene. It was okay. It was okay. I actually thought that of Blake Lively's entire performance, her weakest performance was on the rooftop.
I think so too.
Her laugh, it wasn't real to me. I didn't even buy it. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I'm just, okay, yeah. How it does work is, because I've been laughed, at, or I've made women laugh where I was like, you're not laughing. That's not a real laugh.
Really?
You're being nice to me right now. You are being too kind, and I'm too embarrassed.
No, KK said the screenplay is the draft from 2022, so it's super different from the finished product. That's
great.
This is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you so much. I have to make my comparison to the screenplay and see whether
on my writing channel I thought what I could do is do notes on existing screenplays.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Like just like That's go fun. And do a whole note session.
I'm a nerd for that shit. I'll do it. I'll fucking break down screenplays with you. No problem.
Well, I'm talking about like how I would give notes. Like I will sit there and do a whole note session.
Yeah.
As if here's my note session for this draft of kind of cool idea.
Well, if I can help, count me in because I love that shit.
Oh, you'll be able to help. I'm sure.
Dissecting people's stories.
3 out of 5. What'd you give? You get 3 out of 5. 3, 5?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can because I'm so biased. Like, I
it's just a movie.
I thought it was a really, really well done movie. And I also had the feeling that I cannot fucking believe that Justin Baldoni just fucking ruined his career.
But on the movie, just take that out of it and don't score that.
Promising.
That's a 1. We know that's a 1. How many tiny pineapples does the movie get?
I don't usually like movies like this, so I feel like I just can't rate it. That movie's not made for me. I can't rate it.
So what? You watched it.
I thought it was good, is what I'm going to say.
So what is good to you on a tiny pineapple scale? How does that translate into tiny pineapples?
I'm going to say 3.5 tiny pineapples to match your 3.5 tiny pineapples.
There are 7 total tiny pineapples for not a 7 out of 10 movie. Yeah, I guess it is. So that's good. I mean, good for them. It's all the more infuriating. Let's get to his deposition. It's all the more infuriating that this fucking guy burned this house down, this immaculately built house, handed to, and again, like, the directing is so serviceable. It makes sense that he would fucking direct Pac-Man, by the way.
2 weeks before his premiere, he starts to say, you know what I need to do? I need to start ruining the reputation of the star of my movie. My greatest achievement.
What a weird, he said,
I
wanted to burn it down. I want to burn this, blow this movie up.
I know his publicists are saying about him. He wants to know that she can be buried. He is sending text messages saying this is what we would need, and it's like an article about a celebrity being blamed for what a
royal fuck up,
bullying women or something. Like, why would you sabotage your greatest achievement just mere weeks before it's premiered and shown to the world? I do not understand this man. I feel like it's one of like the most it's sad. It's so fucking sad that he destroyed this opportunity for himself.
I agree. Sad indeed. Sad for everyone
Because
involved.
he's really fucking talented.
It's crazy because it would have been great for that entire cast, and I guess it still is, but not to the extent that it should be. It's like Don's Plum. The conversation about Don's
Isabella
Plum.
Ferrer deserved better than this. Getting dragged into a fucking lawsuit, and now she's being named, and she's just like, "Hey man, I'm just trying to have like a career in the beginning." It's like her first gig, and she gets dragged into this. She didn't deserve that.
It's like Don's Plum. The conversation became about why Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't want you to see this movie, as opposed to what this movie was or is or could have been, and that's what happened obviously in this. So it's sad. I like. Oh, Shannon went and saw it in theaters. I bet it was really good in theaters.
It was really beautiful.
Because I thought another aspect of it that was really well done was the sound.
I appreciated the lighting a lot. I found myself being like, that is really good lighting, because lately we've been watching a lot of Michael Mann
generally
movies.
speaking good. There were some problems.
We've been watching a lot of Michael Mann movies, and the lighting is like fucking
it's
horrible.
like, why is everything blue? Blue, it's all blue.
I know. And then like Superman, where you're like, oh cool, I'm getting blinded for no fucking reason.
And if I'm not being blinded, I feel like I'm standing in a fucking freezer.
And then there's this movie. I was like, oh, the lighting's nice. Everybody looks really great.
Congratulations to everyone involved, and it ends with us. What a great success. I'm sure they're all very proud. They should be.
Hinata says, it is the only movie Blake Lively doesn't look good in. On her scene with Baldoni's wife, where she's getting a sonogram, she, is that what it's called? Sonogram?
Well, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Where they have a little wand and they put it on your belly and you can see inside. Okay. Yeah. On her scene with Baldoni's wife, she looks sweaty and hideous. A lawyer said someone in that production hated her, and I concur.
It was bad styling throughout the whole fucking movie. And she's still really a beautiful woman. I mean, she's just so beautiful. Like, it's amazing. But I couldn't agree more that styling was god-awful. It was god-awful. And to think that she interfered at that point. So you wonder if it was worse. You wonder if she actually did improve it. Because there were moments where I was just like, what the fuck are you wearing that for? Like, you put that on, you're like, yeah, this is great. There was a time when she had this hair where it looked like Cameron Diaz in what was that movie?
It looked like when
Something About Mary.
Yeah, right. And also like it reminded me of My Little Ponies. My Little Ponies always had like really frizzy hair, and you'd comb it to one side.
Oh yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
It had a really 80s flair to it. It's true. There was a very 80s thing.
I think that's what they were going for. It was fucking weird. It was really distracting is what it was. Like what you don't want to do is have like, you don't want the score to be distracting. You don't want the wardrobe to be distracting, unless it's fucking like Rocky Horror Picture Show or something. Shall we move on?
Troll said that it would have been good if they did a second movie because it starts with us as a good book and it focuses on Ryle and Lily.
Oh no shit! I'm gonna have to read that one too.
Hey man, it is just an epic fumble in every possible way. And then they could have launched her as a director on that one and took it to a whole new level and fucking get Taylor Swift to do the score.
Colleen Hoover is an interesting writer. She's very, very skilled. I'm like, I really, really appreciate reading her work. She makes some fucking weird choices. And all of the criticism about her that I read online, I'm like, yeah, I get that. Like, I understand why you guys feel that way.
Yeah, she got beat up.
So I understand why she's like really controversial, but you can't say that she's not skilled because she really knows how to craft a scene. Like you can definitely see what's going on. And I don't know why some of the adaptations kind of fumbled that. I'm really interested in reading the screenplay to see whether that was after the screenwriter had gotten a hold of it. Because, like you were saying, Christy Hall, the screenwriter, gave them a few drafts and then they just stopped ordering them and then they adapted from there. And I went over some of the evidence that was released today with the Wayfarer's motion for summary judgment, and they are talking about script changes constantly. So I'm really curious to compare how the film actually ended up versus what was written as a screenplay. Christy Hall was in an interview talking about how she watched the movie and she saw a bunch of new shit that she didn't recognize.
Not totally unusual, by the way. I've had friends who have written blockbusters and have shown up to the theater and like,
yeah.
One of them sued fucking Disney.
Really?
Yeah. Thowell, I hope I got your name right. Thowell Silver says, do you have any thoughts on what Sony might have done between Baldoni and Blake? I wonder what that question means. What they would have done. If you could put some more clarity into that, I'd be happy to answer it. I'm not sure what specific. I don't want to like guess and then go on a diatribe about something you're not even asking.
I know that Sony executives were like they acted as the middleman in communications near the end, like during the last phase of editing.
Yeah.
So I know
they
that
became more mediator.
Yeah, Blake was done talking to Wayfair folks, and Sony handled it really well. They were just sending updates about what the work that they were doing on their side.
Yeah, and they also did what, you can kind of look at Sony as the parent in this role. So they did what most parents do. They're like, all right, you over there and you over there.
Yeah.
All right, don't even fucking look at her. And you don't look at him either. All right, now do your things.
Eat your peas.
Eat your fucking peas. No, hey. Don't even look. So I think that was more of what the situation was. And of course, if you're Justin Baldoni, that's going to be infuriating because you're the owner of the company. You own the fucking rights. You're the director of the movie. You're the star of the movie. He wants to be involved in
everything. He cannot stand that he's working with the studio. He wants to take studio money, but he doesn't want to let the studio do their part,
Let's move on. So we're going to go into now the Baldoni deposition. Yes? Okay, great.
There are two different sections. Two different exhibits. This one is...
I don't know if we have it all. Do we have it all? Do you know if we have it all?
This is all that I have seen on the docket so far that has been released. But this is... So the context for this is released to support the claims that they made in their motion for summary judgment. The Wayfair parties are saying that what I'm going to read to you helps support their case, that the case should get thrown out and that everything should be resolved before trial.
Very interesting. Before you continue, I'm just going to answer Cosmic Urgency's last question because he asked, isn't having 1 million uncredited writers the norm? It is. And of course you're exaggerating, but it is. It is totally normal to have scripts go through rewrites without the other writers knowing about them. And a part of it is because of money. This is a part of that whole thing that I talked about in terms of the, the union and the way the union can kind of fuck writers out of, the opportunity to make their work great, because the union, requires payment for each level of draft. Now, a draft can have a certain number of revisions, and there are, rules relative to the collective bargaining agreement that they sign with the producers, the particular collective bargaining agreement, or whatever it is. Now, I guess it's not the collective bargaining agreement. It's the, whatever the level of production. So if it's, a major motion picture, or if it's TV or whatever, there's different rules in some of those cases. But in every case, the writer gets paid for every kind of draft they do. Well, if your contract starts to prohibit you or you become a cost factor, then they'll move on. They'll go to another writer and they'll get somebody to write something at half the price. So it's kind of a bummer. But yes, there were certainly it's certainly normal to have a multitude of writers. Sometimes they bring in just dialogue writers. They'll bring in just specialty writers.
That's what you should do.
They'll bring in tech writers.
You should be a dialogue writer to punch up the dialogue and make it more better.
You like Ryle is a neurosurgeon. Mm-hmm. So sometimes they'll bring in people who write technically for surgeons, be they neurosurgeons or cardiovascular or whatever. They'll bring in these people who know how to get around an operating room or speak, and they'll go in and they'll either affect the dialogue or
we were talking about that
procedure.
Too about the movie in the movie and in the book. This is like a criticism I had with Colleen Hoover's writing, is that she has the character of Ryle, who is a neurosurgeon, reach into a hot oven and try to pull out like a dish.
Oh my God!
From the hot oven.
Don't even get me started.
That is currently burning, so there's no question about whether the oven's hot when he tries to do this.
They blew that scene.
And he doesn't wear a mitt or anything, and I was like, okay, so you're talking about a neurosurgeon that literally doesn't do anything at work without putting gloves on.
He's sober.
He doesn't do anything at work without putting gloves on, and you want me to believe that he's going to be so frivolous and so careless. This is a guy whose whole life is about procedures that happen before you can use your hands.
We've all opened up an oven. You get blasted with so much heat.
It was just, and I can't believe that it made it in the movie. I mean, you can't have that scene happen. That's like the real critical action. It's like the catalyst in the.
Yeah, but there was, we worked through how we could have made the adaptation better. This is what I'm talking about, doing rewrites on my channel. I should just do rewrites of other scripts or just notes and explain my reasoning for the note, because there's a way around that easily. Obviously, intoxication is one of them.
Yeah. So in the movie, they weren't drunk.
Yeah.
And they needed to be.
Yeah, they need to be drunk. And then the other thing is, you open it up and it's not on fire. It's just burning. It's just got a thing. Oh no! And then because
He's never gonna
I have foolishly gone to pick up a hot dish, not necessarily from the oven, but a hot dish, just forgetting that it's
from
not.
the oven is what we're talking about.
This is the problem.
It's nuts. It doesn't make
I know,
sense.
we got to move on.
Okay.
So, you set it all up. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, shall I?
Please do.
Okay, this is the Justin Baldoni deposition.
Yes.
Recorded in Los Angeles. So that's where he was or maybe it was over the phone. I don't know. It was October 6th of this year. Okay, so this picks up in the middle of...
No, he was by Zoom.
By video?
By Zoom, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, because he was in Hawaii, Costa Rica, some shit.
Surfing. He was like all fucking Rasta.
Okay, so this picks up in the middle of a question, so I can't read the whole question, but it says, an understanding of what they've been promised, ghost equity, or some sort of promise of equity in Wayfarer, is the question. And he goes, I believe so. And the attorney says, can you tell me? Justin Baldoni answers, I will start with Ahmed. Ahmed was my former partner at Wayfarer Entertainment, which was a small production company that I had started years ago. And he's an independent producer now, but I didn't feel like I could have started Wayfarer without his help with Wayfarer Entertainment. So I gave him a small piece of my own equity. Jamie Heath took a low salary compared probably to a lot of other folks and has lived and breathed the company. And Steve and I felt he deserved a small piece of equity. And I'm still unsure if Tara Hanks officially has any or that any was promised. But when she joined, I think it was discussed, but I don't have a full memory of it. Justin Baldoni is an excellent witness. He is answering questions very clearly. Much better than Jamie Heath.
Yeah.
Okay. Question. Would you say it's accurate that you and Steve Sarowitz co-founded Wayfarer Studios? He said, yeah, I think so. Question. When did that happen? I believe officially it was around the time of the pandemic, so early 2020, but I know it was starting to happen. Like there were conversations in 2019. I just don't know exactly like date. I just don't know the exact like date the papers were signed or things like that. Question, and how did that come about? He's asking for clarification. The starting of Wayfarer Studios, I had always wanted to have the means to create movies that I thought could make a difference and help people. And Steve had a very similar worldview, and he wanted to make movies that could help people too, so we started Wayfarer. How did you come to know Steve Sarowitz? I first met Steve when he was making a film called The Gate. It was a story of the Bab, who was a central figure in the Baha'i faith. And we were introduced because he said he didn't know what he was doing and he needed some guidance. And so I helped him out and we became friends and we have a shared faith. Do you know approximately when this was that you were introduced to him? I don't. I feel like it was maybe 2016 or 2017. That's how long they've known each other.
Almost 10.
Yeah. Would you say that there's a common thesis? I don't know. I don't know how let me see if this is the same. Oh, sorry, that's a skip. Okay, so the question drops off. Would you say there's a common thesis or? Okay. The next chunk we get, page 46, he begins to answer, I don't know how we would quantify that. I don't believe so. Question, are you the co-chairman of Wayfarer Studios? He says, I am. Do you hold any other titles with respect to Wayfarer Studios? I do not. And what are your responsibilities as co-chairman of Wayfarer Studios? Justin Baldoni answers, mostly thinking of the future direction of where I would like to see the company going. I assist with creative. That's pretty much it. Do you have any responsibilities with respect to the financials of Wayfarer Studios? No. Do you have any responsibilities with respect to the day-to-day operations of Wayfarer Studios? No. Would you say that Sarowitz is the money guy and you're the creative force behind Wayfarer Studios? Answer is cut off, but he says, Sarowitz is quite creative, but I think... And then we don't get to read the rest of that.
But I think that my job is to work creatively and yes, so we can anticipate.
Maybe.
We can anticipate.
Who knows? Next chunk is question. In any other role than an attendee.
Yeah, Cosmic Urgency. That's what I was thinking. He
What?
said The Gate is an 80s horror classic starring Stephen Dorff. And I was like,
You guys don't understand. That movie fucked me up as a kid.
The Gate?
I used to have nightmares of those little goblins chasing me around. I was obsessed with that movie. I watched it like 40 fucking times and it scared the shit out of me every time I was really young. I love that movie. It's like perfect B horror movie.
It's a great one.
Cosmic Urgency, maybe you've just discovered the one movie you and I both like. I don't know if you like that movie or if you're just making fun of me. Okay. Which is fair. You can make fun of me for liking The Gate. Okay, so here's I don't know what he's answering here, but the question is, in any other role than an attendee, Justin Baldoni said, I started speaking in my 30s, and I don't know if I ever spoke at one or not. Question, do you know a gentleman by the name of Labid Aziz? He said, yes. Who is he? Was the original COO of Wayfair Studios is the answer. Question, and when did he cease operating in that role? Baldoni says, I think about a year into his role. Was he a good COO? Baldoni says, I'm not sure I'm qualified to judge what a good COO is. Question, did you ever have any concerns personally with him in his role as COO? Baldoni says, I did. What were those concerns? I felt he would often promise things in deal making that weren't possible. He was a bit of a wheeler and dealer, and there were certain instances where I did not feel he was telling the truth. Can you identify any of those instances for me? He answers, I just remember getting phone calls saying like Labid said this or Labid promised this and being very confused because that wasn't something that he could be promising. It was important to me that we were always honest and that we didn't enter into deals with people and make promises that we couldn't keep. And I didn't always feel that integrity I didn't always feel he operated with that integrity. Question, can you give me any specific examples? He says, the one I can think of right now is my dad is also in the entertainment business. He was one of the founding fathers of what is called product placement. And I always wanted to work with my dad, and it's a sweet relationship. But I remember my dad told me that he had promised Labid, or Labid had promised him, that he could build out an entire product placement division in Wayfair Studios. And
they fucking nail us with that as soon as they open up the movie with Smart Food and a couple other things.
I know, it's product
Fuckers.
placement.
As soon as it happened, I was like, oh man, that bag is turned right at me,
There's
bitch.
Starbucks cups that they're holding like to show the logo. Or Labid had promised him that he could build out an entire product placement division of Wayfair Studios and that he would put him on a salary. And I think he got my dad's hopes up, which my dad, was 70, and that wasn't ever part, and then it cuts off. We don't get to see the rest.
So basically his dad didn't get his cake.
Yeah.
You said my dad was getting cake and you didn't give him cake.
I don't know why we're learning about this guy, Labid, but I think the relevant part of this is he's saying we're a very honest company.
Well, that's nice.
Let's see. It was important to me that we were always honest and that we didn't enter into deals with people that make promises that we couldn't keep. So.
Okay. Well,
I don't think
tell that to the insurance company.
Oh my God. Tell that to the insurance company. I was reading that because I was like, nobody's alleging that you didn't fucking pay them. But I guess the insurance company has allegations that you're not very honest. Okay. Sorry about skipping around so much. It's not my fault. This is what they're giving us. So page 73 is alone. This is going to be fast.
I wonder if David is going to go to jail and then look down and see his name, and it's not going to be a 4, and he's going to go.
Yeah, they're definitely going to use his birth name.
No, I know. He's going to be like, it's not my fucking name. Go ahead.
Do you want to continue with
this? I do. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I glanced over here and he's on my screen. He's looking at me very angry.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what this question is, but it starts with you explain the truth of what happened. That's all we get to see because it's cut off. Baldoni says, if my memory is correct, I was being accused of many things, but one of them was like putting Miss Lively on a phone call with a dietitian, which was a lie and an extreme distortion of the truth. Question, who is Dan Saladino?
That doesn't sound like a full statement. He said it was a lie and a full, an extortion.
And an extreme distortion of the truth.
At the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So, not a lie? I don't know what that means.
Putting Lively on a phone call with a dietitian. It's interesting. We'll see what happens. Okay, question. Who is Dan Saladino? He says he's a personal trainer. Question, is he Miss Lively's personal trainer? And he said, I would assume so. Question, and what about your text messages with him? Did you believe at the time would help you demonstrate the truth of what had happened? Baldoni says, the communication between him and myself that showed he was also working with me. Question, how many screenshots do you recall sending to Mitz? I wish I could tell you. I don't know. Question, more than 2? Yes. More than 5? Probably. More than 10? That was a very hard time. I will say yes. So screenshots shared with Mitz.
Who's Mitz?
Mitz. Mitz
sounds like somebody like that you like the shoulder you cry on.
Mitz works at Wayfair.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here's the next.
Where would I be without Mitz?
I'm very upset. We have to get Mitz on the phone.
I remember Mitz's name coming up before because it obviously makes me think of Mitz.
Okay.
Mittens.
Shall I continue?
Please.
This is a huge leap. So over 200 pages later, which is a lot of deposition that they have not included as evidence, which I think is very interesting. Okay. Question.
Yeah. That 200 pages we might be finding in her answer to the summary judgment.
I know. Is this the idea? This is the question. Is this the idea from your partner, Steve Sarowitz, about flipping the narrative that you were just discussing flipping the narrative about? And he's asking for a second to read it. Okay. And so the question again is, so is this the substance of the idea that you were just talking about that came from your partner, Steve Sarowitz, about flipping the script? I think they're talking about Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
He goes, yes. Question. And that included flipping the script from Ryan saying, and they're reading, script was a disaster, and he saved the movie, to something about Ryan claiming the female hired was a feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc. Do you see that? He says yes. The question, this idea that this was a female writer and a female film, and that what Ryan Reynolds was saying was essentially misogynistic, did that come from Steve Sarowitz? Baldoni answers, I think I said here that my partner Steve has asked about this, so I was passing that along. It's a little insincere. Question. So this idea, something about Ryan claiming the female hired was a feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc., came from Steve? Answer. That was what was passed on to me.
Oh boy, because Steve denied this in his deposition. He said he had absolutely... These fucking guys didn't huddle up.
They did not huddle up.
You gotta huddle up when you're getting sued, boys.
About. If you're not telling the truth, there's no way you're going to get the lie straight.
That is a direct contradiction to Steve Sarowitz's...
That was what was passed on to me. That's very, very... That's very carefully selected language that doesn't attribute the information to anybody. That was what was passed on to me. Oh, by a raven. Like, yeah. What stork
with one
dropped
white feather, and you'll know what I mean if you watch Katla.
Okay.
Yes.
Question. Did you use any judgment about whether or not that was a good idea before you passed it along? He's objection from his lawyer. Justin Baldoni said, I think it's implied in him saying the script was a disaster, so I just passed it along. I didn't disagree with him. Question. You didn't disagree with Mr. Sarowitz's idea. Is that what you mean? Baldoni says, I didn't disagree with what Mr. Sarowitz was saying in terms of what Ryan was inferring when he called the script a disaster. And then
so he's actually trying to frame it up as though he still believes that Ryan Reynolds was dissing on a feminist writer. Is that what we just witnessed?
I believe he is saying that he was just passing along information, that it wasn't actually coming from him. That
no, that's correct. That's clear. But at the end, it sounds to me like he's saying that. Can you reread that ending?
Yes.
The last couple of...
Okay. So this idea, something about Ryan claiming the female writer was a feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc. That came from Steve. He said that was what was passed on to me. Did you use any judgment about whether or not that was a good idea before you passed it along? I think it's implied in him saying the script was a disaster, so I just passed it along. I didn't disagree with him. Question. You didn't disagree with Mr. Sarowitz's idea. Is that what you mean? And his answer is, I didn't disagree with what Mr. Sarowitz was saying in terms of what Ryan was inferring when he called the script a disaster.
Holy shit. So what he's saying is, it's an amazing piece of testimony. So he's saying, and the way he says it, which is so weird because he thinks he's avoiding the answer, I think.
Yeah, I know.
And he's not.
Yeah.
Because he's very blatantly saying that he believed Steve Sarowitz when Steve Sarowitz said that the script should be flipped, and that it was what Ryan Reynolds was inferring. So and why this is so fucking fascinating to me is because I really believe this is the kind of mentality that causes the problem that we see that he has in his life right now. It's the kind of mentality where somebody says something and he fucking dreams it up into something else. These are the most infuriating people to deal with because they have a narrative going on in their head that you have to try to break through in order to have a fucking reasonable minded conversation with them, because they've got this fucking voice in their head saying that everything I'm saying to them is twisted or subtextually something entirely different.
It's so hard to break through that too.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It's why these kinds of arguments
Because
end up with people going, "You won't fucking listen to
know, 'cause
me.
it
And
started-
I know exactly what you're saying.
because
You've been saying it all along."
they build up this new barrier of confirmation bias, that they've made a decision that something is the way it is. Now that's another barrier you have to break down. And every other piece of information that they accept is going to confirm this bias that they just built, that they have an opinion about something. So they're just going to look for pieces of information that confirm that, even if what you're saying is nothing like that.
So what happened is he created a fact out of something completely false.
I don't think he believes this. I think he knows exactly what's happening, and he's just trying to play games with this lawyer.
I
because he
disagree
knows
with
he
you.
can't admit it because that's a smear campaign.
I disagree with you. I think he believes it. I think he talks himself into these situations and which gives him the conviction to be able to go through with such horrible and ridiculous fucking actions as he's gone through with this.
Here's what happened. The January 4th meeting where Ryan Reynolds yells at him for mistreating his wife. Okay, so Ryan Reynolds yells at Justin Baldoni, and for days after, he is sending messages to everybody. He cannot get over it, and he's really, really fucking pissed. And I think that January 5th, the day after that meeting, was when he decided he was going to go to war with these people. And so I think that he feels justified in whatever attacks he does to Ryan Reynolds because he disrespected and made him feel bad, how dare you talk to me that way type shit, right?
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds, meanwhile, is like, how dare you treat my wife this way? Which
It's
is like,
fucking
you can't
wild.
blame him for being upset about the way she was treated. It's just, I just think that I don't know if they're going to cover this because I'm going to get back to this deposition, but he should really answer for the fact that not only was it that he was trying to make Ryan Reynolds into an anti-feminist or whatever, like that he didn't think a woman can handle the material or fucking whatever, but he also tries to turn him into a scab, that he's breaking strike. That
he's going against. Yeah, he's crossing.
So that was the
picket line.
second thing that he came up, and I don't know whether he's still attributing that to Steve Sarowitz or not. Maybe that's why it's not in this question.
We'll find out. But I think that was a very revealing statement. We have slightly different views on how it might go because I honestly believe that this guy's entirely capable and his friends are too. I think that it kind of goes part and parcel with people who become so devout to religion that they start to incorporate it in every aspect. They created the Baha'i theater experience where they're not allowed to put domestic violence or any other kind of violence in their movies.
Just to clarify, though.
And obviously created the Baha'i set.
Yeah, right. You think that he doesn't believe that... I don't understand. So in the text message, he says, "Hey, my Steve. Hi, Steve. My friend Steve and I were talking about how to spin the narrative about Ryan Reynolds writing on the screenplay, and he's telling his publicist this. You're saying that he doesn't believe what he's saying?
I'm saying that he does. I'm saying that he thinks what he said in that statement was that his partner, Steve Sarowitz, said that Ryan Reynolds' actual statement, was subtextually
that I'm going to rewrite this because she fucked up because
she's a feminist who whatever he says
can't write a script
right. Because whatever bias this and whatever.
And you're saying that they believe that?
And I think that they believe it. I think they buy it the same way that their fans buy it. I really
just
do.
wanted to clarify our
conviction
disagreement because I believe that he was planting a negative story, fully knowing that it's spun bullshit out of nothing.
Oh,
and
you're probably right.
That he feels like it's justified to do that.
We know it is because we read the text.
He thinks that Ryan Reynolds is a bad person because he treated him negatively. Right. So I think that he is just justifying.
They knew they were lying.
Yeah.
No, you're right because I'm remembering the actual text, and the actual text is they knew they were lying. It's interesting how you put.
Should I fucking pull it up?
If you want to, because it really is interesting how in a deposition things get reframed, because in the context of the text itself. That just it feels like a bull-faced lie. Because I do remember the text now.
Okay, Justin Baldoni attacks Ryan Reynolds. Here we go. This is Exhibit 21. This was released in August. I don't know how else to... I mean, there's a lot of redundant labeling. I don't really know how they're doing it. Okay, so he is texting Melissa Nathan. This is Justin Baldoni saying in text message... Quickly, my partner Steve asked about flipping the narrative from this leak this AM about Ryan saying the script was a disaster and he saved the movie. And then Melissa Nathan says, so actually it's working in our favor. Ryan Reynolds looks the worst and continues to play into that narrative of them being awful. It's playing good for us, bad for them, which is so damning because she's not supposed to be, she's supposed to focus on her own fucking client. Okay. Justin Baldoni continues. So I think he meant to send a series of texts. So he said, This leak, this AM about Ryan saying the script was a disaster and he saved the movie, to something about Ryan claiming the female hired was a feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, using their own words against them. It's an easy flip. And the fact that this is just,
they called it a flip.
And this is,
that is a lie.
No, I know. And so
that's what flips are. They're not the truth.
Justin continues. He goes, and the fact that they saved the script from what they think is a disaster after we had a greenlit script and was a strike basically implies they were scabs, which we should 100% lead them to. And then Melissa Nathan says, I'm all over it. He continues, it's a man coming in to say...
Lead them to...
I know. Justin Baldoni says, it's a man coming in to say, this female writer sucks and I need to save it. Let him drown in his own pool. And doing it while there was a strike. He said there was no truce here. Someone should tell his team that we are ready to fight if they keep leaking this shit. I mean, Danny G, it's going to be bad for them. Legal shit, I'm ready. Melissa Nathan
I wonder who actually put that article out.
Melissa Nathan said, our lawyer is prepped and ready.
We are ready to go to war, sir.
Yeah, she's like, hey, man, I'm going to make a lot of money. If your situation gets way worse for you and your career totally tanks, you're going to pay me to fix it. So I'm definitely down. I'm definitely down for you to continue ruining your own life.
John Farm saying, like, I think Ryan Reynolds is a saint for not knocking his face in. It's especially as a Canadian. Like, Canadians, I mean, that's what we do. When it gets bad enough.
Okay.
Some of us, anyway.
So here we are, back to the. So does that help add some clarity?
Yeah, it adds a great deal of clarity. To me, it's those are lies in a deposition.
So when he's saying, so she's asking, so this idea, something about Ryan claiming the female hired was a feminist writer, didn't know how to attack a female film. Does that came from Steve? And he said that was what was passed on to me by like a wise old owl somewhere in the fucking woods. Right?
It came through the bristling leaves.
I heard a call from the ether, like fucking whatever.
It was a whisper in the wind.
Did she? And then she's asking, so did you use any judgment about whether or not that was a good idea before you passed it along? He said, I think it's implied in him saying the script was a disaster, so I just passed it along. I didn't disagree with him. He just passed it along. He didn't elaborate. He didn't like.
I think it's implied.
He didn't actually fucking call for war with his.
That's not how it works.
It's an easy flip. We should 100% lead them to it. That's more than what he's admitting to.
You're not going to get away with. You're not going to. There's no defense.
Okay.
Because you thought it implied something. That's not defensible.
Okay, here we go. This is
indefensible.
This is another leap.
Good night, Thowell. Have a nice having you here.
Another 20 pages. Who left?
Thowell.
Oh, goodbye.
Thanks for your thoughts. Said good night. Hope you'll come back. Please like and subscribe.
This picks up in the middle of one of his answers. Okay, so here Justin Baldoni picking up like in the middle of what he's saying. He said, "Think she represented The Rock," and she had said on that call that Mr. Reynolds had like terrorized The Rock or something to that extent. Something about
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah,
or just like a rock.
The Rock. Like the Sugarloaf in Rio de Janeiro, like the big rock. The
countertop.
Something about a letter. I don't remember the details, but something about like he had written a letter and it was like they wouldn't do press together. I don't know.
Ryan Reynolds and The Rock?
Yeah, that's what Justin Baldoni's telling the story. It was a lot of gossip, but that's why I remember laughing because I was just like, oh. Question, did you feel supported by her on that call? Justin Baldoni said, yeah, as I said earlier, it kind of felt like, oh, don't worry. She's this and that. It will be fine. The movie's going to come out and it will be awesome. And everybody's had a bad experience with her. It was like that kind of call. Why didn't he take that advice? If it was going to be fine, the movie's going to come out and everything's going to be fine.
Maybe because he's lying right now?
Man, you should have just done that. Question, and did you feel like she believed what you were relaying to her about your experiences on set? Justin Baldoni said, yes. I don't remember sharing much, but what I did share, I just shared the truth, and she, yeah.
Yeah.
Next question is, what do you remember sharing with her about your experiences on set?
And this is with who again? With whom?
The lawyer.
Oh, okay.
The lawyer hasn't been named. I think maybe earlier it has. I'm sorry. But Justin Baldoni, his answer to the question is, what do you remember sharing with her about your experiences on set? Oh, you're asking who he's talking to?
Yeah.
It's either Jennifer Abel or Melissa Nathan.
Okay.
But I don't know who. What do you remember sharing with her about your experiences on set? He said, I specifically remember sharing the situation with our trainer and asking him about what he thought Miss Lively might weigh when we shot the scene where I had to pick her up because of my back. And how then they confronted me the next day, and how this trainer evidently then went and told her that I was asking about her weight or something. And then how that became this big thing. And they sat me down, and I just remember her kind of not being able to believe that that was even a thing. I believe I shared with her that I made a comment about the way Jenny Slate looked in her wardrobe, and then I used the word sexy, and I think she started responding by joking about how, again, I don't want to, if it's okay, repeat the words that she said, but describing, generalizing the woman and the women and their fragility. And then I shared, I think, did she call them a pussy or something? Like, what? He doesn't want to repeat the words.
If you're under you're under oath. I'd be like, you're under oath.
You need to repeat.
I want to hear what she said, and there might be that, like, because most lawyers would be like, just so you know, you don't get to edit this. You have to tell us what she said.
You're not in like a elementary school, bro. You can speak to. We're all adults here. I don't want to, if it's okay, repeat the words that she said, but describing, generalizing the women and their fragility. And then I shared, and I think I talked about the wardrobe, how hard it was with the wardrobe. And just that it felt like it was just a very hard experience. Like, that's kind of what I remember. Yeah, bro, you fucking directed a movie. It's a hard experience. What do you expect? Okay. Question. Do you remember sharing with her anything else regarding your experiences on set in that call? And it cuts off. And I don't know why they didn't include more. But anyway, here's the next chunk we get. It's very frustrating not to know how these conversations go. Okay, question. And can you describe that journey for me briefly here? Answer. Do you want me to describe my whole book journey briefly? Is it possible? I'm happy to try. I just don't know what briefly is. Question. I'm just trying to understand what was the idea behind that book and the podcast. Justin Baldoni says, well, the book was really a self-exploration of looking into all the unconscious messages that I've taken on as a man, but more importantly, as human in my life, all the mistakes I've made, the social constructs, and kind of invisible scripts that I maybe have been living by that I wasn't even aware of, and putting them in a form that I was hopeful could help other men. And the podcast, I think, was to answer your question, was a way to have a conversation around those same topics that oftentimes were uncomfortable, so that we could have something for men outside of the book. Did the book or the podcast deal with notions of toxic masculinity? Was that part of it? His answer is, I actually say in the book that I don't like to use the phrase toxic masculinity, so I will answer your question no, but I think that would be more of a perception based on who was listening. Question, what phrase do you prefer than toxic masculinity, or why do you not like to use that phrase? Justin Baldoni says, as I wrote about, I think that the phrase toxic masculinity was inherently divisive. I believed it became political, and a lot of men felt attacked by use of the word, and I didn't feel that it made any sense to use it.
Poor men.
And I didn't feel, I know, a lot of men felt attacked. Meanwhile, women are attacked.
Literally physically attacked.
Yeah.
Mentally abused. And you're worried about whether or not the guy can handle it.
But we'll choose better words so you guys don't get hurt.
It's just infuriating.
And I didn't feel that it made any sense to use a term that would immediately make men defensive, especially because those were the very men that I wanted to reach. And I also don't believe that masculinity is inherently toxic. I never have. I was very proud to be a man. I never felt like I needed to apologize for
So you couldn't separate the two words? He didn't know that they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying, but it's like, okay. I mean, you know,
masculinity and toxic masculinity are two different fucking things.
It also, it's a very good choice for somebody who's trying to brand himself as an expert in this space to come up with his own terms. So, like, I get the choice to not use everybody else's words and to come up with your own. So I get that.
Okay.
I was very proud to be a man. I never felt like I needed to apologize for being a man. And I know that was something that was going around a lot with the phrase toxic masculinity. And that said, there were a lot of people that maybe kind of lumped in this idea that because I was doing a podcast and writing a book about masculinity, that I was saying that masculinity was toxic. But generally, those were people that didn't read my book or listen to my podcast. I just wanted to help men and help men embrace all the parts of them that made them human. And that also means the stuff that sucks and that you never want to look at, and that maybe you've been hiding or you don't even realize you're hiding. And it was just about confronting these parts of ourselves and just holding ourselves accountable to try to be better men. He said, I'm sorry, that wasn't very brief. She said, that's all right, and you'll forgive me if I'm using the wrong terminology around this stuff, but feel free to use whatever you think are the appropriate words. But you said, when you said the stuff that sucks that you never want to look at, or maybe you've been hiding or you don't even realize you've been hiding, can you give me some examples of what kind of stuff you're talking about? He said, sure. of course they're including all of this in their motion for summary judgment. They're like, let's listen to Justin Baldoni tell a story. Okay. Sure, I mean, a lot of men deal with shame. A lot of men, I mean, suicide among men is increasing yearly, and many more men take their own lives than women. And there is a belief in, and I don't say this as an expert, this is just from my own research and experience, there's a belief in this specific world that this happens because men don't have a support system, because men have been taught to not share their pain and their trauma because it's oftentimes used against them and weaponized against them by both men and women. So an example could be a man that was abused as a child who never spoke to anybody about it. In this case, I'll give you an example of a man who was maybe abused by an older man, but this man identified as being heterosexual, but because he was abused by an older man, struggles with abuse itself and being taken advantage of. But also the fact that he was abused by a man, he's also questioning his sexuality or his gender. And also there's a preconceived notion that as a man, you don't want to go to therapy because it makes you less of a man. So perhaps this man didn't get the help that he needed, and he was, as we say, suffering in silence. And he didn't know who to reach out to, and instead that man took out all of these feelings of shame and unworthiness and confusion about what happened to him and blamed himself and would take that out on other people, maybe other men, maybe other women, maybe this man himself became an abuser. And the whole idea is that this is something that as a man you would find embarrassing and shameful because it's not something that is socially accepted or acceptable to talk about. So the hope was to normalize getting the help you need, to normalize vulnerability. Let men know that they're not alone and that there is all kinds of examples of these types of things. I'm happy to name another one if you want me to. And again, this is just a hypothetical man. And many of these men end up eventually taking their own lives, and that breaks my heart, and hurting women in the process, which also breaks my heart. Question: did any of your work on the podcast or in this book around this idea of man enough have to do with gender norms or gender relations as between men and women? Baldoni answers, I mean, I think the entire book was inherently about gender and masculinity specifically. But as I said in the book, I'm not an expert, and the book was much more of my personal journey in trying to use as many anecdotes and stories that I could find in my life to point men to a direction of maybe them being able to look at themselves. I'm sure some of that it was discussed either on the podcast or in the book as just, it's a large conversation. And my book was meant to just be a tiny little piece of a personal journey meant for men. But as we know, many women read it and then give it to their men.
Do they?
Question. I was going to give it to you for Christmas.
Oh, looking forward to it.
Have you seen reporting around you that identifies you as an ally of women or a feminist ally? And he said, I would say so, yeah. Question. Do you believe yourself to be an ally of women or a feminist ally? Baldoni says, I certainly have attempted to be. Question, you're aware of the Me Too movement, I'm assuming? He said, I am. Question, are you aware of an idea that came out of the Me Too movement that one should believe women when they speak out about misconduct against them? He said, yes, I'm aware. Question, do you agree with that idea? And they cut off. And we don't see what Baldoni says about that.
Oh my God, this is going to be so juicy in her response. This is going to be so, if this
she has the whole thing. I mean, we're just seeing
what they want us to see.
Yeah.
So far, I find this relatively benign on both sides. I don't know. I guess it's, they released this because he gets to go on diatribes about his greatness and his devotion to making men whole again. They
know who's going to read it, which is all of his fans, and they're going to hopefully continue to be his fans because, like he's saying, I mean, he had a really great.
I don't know how it helps the summary judgment.
There's another one of these too, another 22 pages. It's shorter. We'd have to get to the next one. Anyway, he had this whole brand. He had this really great idea, and I don't know whether he's going to be able to pick up any of that again because here he is. He's defied one of the central things that he was talking about in his fucking TED Talk that started this whole career of his. So I don't know what he's supposed to do. I don't know how he reinvents himself. I don't know how he pivots. He has to. I suppose he has to claim that he was falsely accused and that if he loses the case, he has to say that was unjust or something. I don't fucking know. I don't know what he's supposed to do.
I think. Well, we'll see what happens. Do you want to keep going?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the next day. They are asking about an interview with Glamour magazine. Justin Baldoni's first answer, we don't get to see much more context than this. He says, I don't know which magazine it was. I remember talking about it only once, and it was right after a speech that I gave. And the question is, after that TED Talk that you gave? He said, yes, at TED Women. Question: do you recall being asked the question prompting that answer? Did you ever feel like you were harassed or victimized on set? Was the question. He said, I don't remember that. I don't remember being asked the question prompting that answer. Okay, but as you sit here today, this is the first example that you have brought up in response to my question of whether you have ever been sexually harassed. I think he's going to tell a story here. Somebody was sharing online, so I don't know if there's like, if I should do like trigger warnings or content warnings or something. So he talks about some abuse that he endured. Okay.
So he gets to get that out to the public. That's sweet.
I know.
Oh, poor Justin, my tears.
Yeah, I mean, like, abuse sucks.
I know it.
I don't know why he didn't
got
take
lots
this.
of it to talk about.
This is another situation in which, like, just like Jamie Heath's wife has to fucking endure the fucking indignity of having her private life being fucking an exhibit in a court lawsuit. Like, now Justin Baldoni has to fucking tell his personal stories in a fucking deposition because he can't lie about the shit. You know, it just sucks, man.
Yeah.
Like, he could have prevented all of this and just like mediated the situation and
Correct.
moved on with his life.
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, but as you sit here today, this is the first example that you've brought up in response to my question of whether you've ever been sexually harassed. He said, that's the first response I think you asked me if I've talked about it publicly. The question, so she says, okay. He said, yeah. Question, why did you feel harassed by what this producer did? Answer, okay, this is the trigger warning story.
Okay.
This is kind of gnarly. Okay, Justin Baldoni is telling the story. He goes, well, he was asking me to get naked in the hot tub with him and standing very close to me with his naked genitals, like intentionally walking close to my face. It was just him and I in there, and he was using the idea that, and then it gets cut off. So that's obviously a gnarly experience that he's sharing with us. So it picks up 2 pages later. The first question is, so he didn't assault you, is the question. Justin Baldoni's answer is, I wouldn't call it assault. I don't believe I characterized it as assault. The lawyer says, I didn't say you did, sir. He said, yeah. Question, you were bigger and stronger than this guy, right? Answer, I would imagine I was. Which...
He's got a bad back, though, so...
I know. It sucks, though, because it's so not relevant. It doesn't fuck... I mean, did you hear the story about what happened to, what's his name? That huge guy that's on Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah, Terry Crews.
Terry Crews is his name?
And Adam Bennett.
He was
Adam Bennett makes an appearance in my book.
He was sexually assaulted in public in like a fucking industry event. Like, it doesn't matter your size.
I had a major TV actor come up to me. Well, I was at Pride Parade. So it was Pride in Los Angeles, and I was wearing shorts, and I had a pack of cigarettes in my front pocket, and they were, it was very close to, my my junk.
Wearing pockets on your shorts, yeah.
Yeah, front pockets. And this guy comes up to me, extremely gay dude, and he comes up to me, and he grabs my cigarettes, and he wiggles them, touching my genitals. No, he touched my genitals because he wiggled it. He's like, weirdo. And he goes, "He's just your with his thumb, or his finger or whatever."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Are these just your cigarettes, or are you happy to see me, or some shit like that?" And I just looked at him like I wanted to punch him in the face,
You're like, I know I'm at your big gay pride event, and like I get that, like maybe you'd assume things.
Let me see when it was too, because like
that's very, very forward.
This is how long I was in LA when this happened too. Let me point this out, because Marissa Ryan, who had a lot of really cool friends who were gay, so she was like really into the community, and Gay Pride 1994 LA. Let's see what this is. I don't know if it's giving me a date. June 12th. June 12th. I was there on June 4th. So from June 4th to June 12th, and this guy, it was straight up like I could have.
Oh, it was like your first week in
my
Hollywood?
First week in this guy. I named him and everything, and I wrote a scene for the book that is not in the book.
Yeah.
Because it was just when I got there, first thing I got there, I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I know.
It was wild.
This happens to dudes a lot, man, and it fucking sucks every time. Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to get back to this.
Yeah, we've been here for your butt's got to be sore by now.
No, I'm actually okay today.
Keep going. How about
sorry,
that?
I complained about it. Okay, so the question is, so he didn't assault you, and then Baldoni says, I wouldn't call it assault. I don't believe I characterized it as assault. The lawyer says, I didn't say you did, sir. He said, yeah. Question, you were bigger and stronger than this guy, right? And he said, I would imagine I was. Question, this wasn't someone the size of Dwayne Johnson or The Rock or something like that. He said it was not. Question, so if it had come to it, you probably could have knocked the guy out. This is so insensitive, this questioning. I cannot believe this is happening. So his lawyer voices an objection. And then Baldoni answers, I'm not much of a fighter. I would have left. Question, you didn't work for the guy, right? Answer, no. Question, so you had no employment relationship with him? Answer, no, I did not. Question, okay, so do you know who he was? And Baldoni says, I think he told me his name, but, and then he doesn't answer. Question, did you try to find him after the incident and talk to him about it? He says, no. Did you find him before you talked about this event in Glamour magazine? He said, no. So this is Gottlieb questioning Baldoni, I've just seen.
So what's the relevance of any of this, I wonder?
That was such an insensitive line of questioning. I know that he's trying to say, now he's asking, did you work for him? Just trying to make the difference of the dynamic between, being assaulted or harassed by somebody out in the world and being assaulted or harassed in a workplace. Because that's obviously the situation that we're in this case.
Well, I don't understand the relationship between the two events at all.
Yeah, but asking, you're bigger than him, you could have knocked him out. Like, that's really fucking crude. I don't know why he did that. Okay, Gottlieb is continuing to question. You didn't want to give him an opportunity to take accountability for his actions and make it right? And Baldoni says, I didn't name him. Question, but you described him and described who he was friends with and the spa you were in. And Baldoni
so he was friends with Dwayne Johnson? Is that how Dwayne Johnson
No.
Okay.
He was comparing his size.
That's all?
Yes, that's all. Dwayne Johnson's out there like, why the fuck am I in
fucking
this?
Drag me into this shit.
Why am I being fucking named?
Leo got dragged into the Epstein files. They're all just like, what the fuck?
Okay. He says, I don't know. Baldoni says, I don't know if I described who his friends were. Gottlieb is asking, do you know his name as you sit here today? He said, no. I think you've already talked about your experience with your college girlfriend. Is that right? He said, yes. And then the page cuts off. We pick up like 5 pages later. Gottlieb is asking, did you ever go back to talk to any of your college friends or people that you might have hung out with mutually to tell them that what you were going to do? Answer, I don't know anybody from back then. Question, do you have any idea whether or not your college girlfriend would agree with the way you have remembered the events relating to the losing of your virginity? Baldoni says, I don't know what she would think. I don't know who she is anymore. Question, but you thought it was okay to go on TV and tell the world that your college girlfriend had sexually abused you without ever talking to her about it? Baldoni says, I wasn't aware I needed to ask her permission to share my story. Gottlieb says, am I right that one of the things that was most traumatic about this to you is that you, and it cuts off. We pick up about 5 pages later. Okay. Baldoni is answering a question.
Jeremy Wright is still up in this mofo again.
He's great. Okay. We pick up a few pages later. Baldoni is answering a question. We don't know what the question is, but he says, a set with all Baha'is? I don't know. Question, well, so you're the director and you're the co-founder of the studio and I'm here and I'm asking you, okay? He goes, yeah. Okay, someone has told me that your set is a Baha'i set, okay? And he goes, are you giving me a, and then his lawyer objects. Mr. Gottlieb asks the question, just let me finish my question. He goes, okay, so let's just establish some principles. You're the co-founder of Wayfarer Studios, correct? He says, correct. You were the director of It Ends With Us, correct? He says, correct. Producer? No. Lead actor? Second lead actor. Gottlieb goes, second lead actor, and I come to you now.
He's the male lead. It's such a stupid thing to say.
I know, it's stupid.
He's just being argumentative.
And I come to you now and I say, Mr. Baldoni, you're the director of this film, you're the co-founder of this studio, someone, and then it cuts off.
But you know what's interesting about him saying the second lead actor is it goes to my point that I've been making forever and forever. The premiere of the movie is going to elevate the star of the movie first and foremost.
Blake Lively.
And that's Blake Lively. And if Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are at odds for any fucking reason whatsoever, they're going to separate that instantly. And by they, I mean Sony.
Yeah, right.
So go ahead.
It's their marketing event.
So that's I mean,
it's not like a
he
party
understood,
for the director.
He understood what he was dealing with. He understood the dynamic of what he was dealing with. Blake Lively was the star of the movie. And it's not privilege, it's position. It's not privilege, it's just position. And position fucking matters, especially when it comes to the marketing of the film. So you can continue.
Yeah.
But I just think that's an important
No,
distinction.
it's true that he's a second lead. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he is answering some questions. He's going, Baldoni says, the policy that is directly in front of me, I don't know if I have read this policy. The lawyer says, okay, so do you know if you've ever had any kind of training on this policy, this anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, and anti-retaliation policy? Baldoni says, yes, I believe I have. When was that? I think every couple years. Question, when was the last time you attended one? He's asking in person. But the lawyer clarifies at all, virtually or in person. Baldoni says virtually. Virtually, I completed mine last week. Okay, for this year. For the year 2025? And Baldoni says yes. Question, prior to that, do you recall the last time that you had training on this policy? Baldoni says, I imagine it was 2 years before that. Question, do you recall there ever being training on anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, and anti-retaliation during the production of It Ends With Us? Yes. Did you attend that training? He says, I did. Question, did you attend that training in person? He said, yes. Where was it? In our production offices. On the set in New Jersey? He said, not on set, but the production offices in New Jersey. Okay, the production offices in New Jersey, near where strike that. All right, it's a bad question. Okay, we'll come back to that. Next question is, during that training, do you remember going through examples or scenarios of types of conduct that would be a violation or a potential violation of this anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, and anti-retaliation policy? And Baldoni says, I can't remember specifics, but I do. That was the bulk of the harassment training. Question, was there a presentation? And it cuts off. So he's admitting he did take that training. Okay, page 77.
So he's saying he did it, and then so he was just joking that he didn't take it, even though he was actually, being sexual, being inappropriate in that scene that just went around the other day. It's pretty interesting.
Okay, Gottlieb is continuing the question. A few pages later, he says, "Okay, I'm most interested in what you said publicly about how, in your view, being exposed to pornography repetitively affects one's view of consent. Do you recall giving a talk called Boys Will Be Human, a talk on healthy masculinity with Justin Baldoni?" Justin Baldoni said, "I wrote a book called Boys Will Be Human, and I imagine I've done a talk or two, yeah." The question is, some interviews about the subject of the book, and he goes, is that a speech that I gave, or is this an interview that I gave? Gottlieb is saying, this is during an interview, and I want to read to you what you said. You said, in quotes, when you hit 11 or 12 years old and your friends have a phone, or maybe you don't, and you're being shown things for the first time, and then you start to think that is what women want. And in porn, as we know, no means yes or try harder. It starts to become very confusing, which is definitely something that happened to me.
Yikes.
And then we don't get to see his answer, but it picks up one page later, and it says, so this is his answer picking up saying consent, but what I'm essentially saying is there's even a possibility that in my teens and 20s I wasn't aware. So they took out, there's 2 pages missing. No, sorry, one full page missing. Until he
his
comes answer to about that statement about no means yes or try harder, and it starts to becoming very confusing, which is definitely something that happened to me. So we don't get to know how he addresses that except the end of this. What I'm essentially saying is there's even a possibility that in my teens and 20s I wasn't aware. Question. Well, literally what you said is, and then he reads, I'm sure I've crossed boundaries and lines in my teens and 20s, not even thinking about it simply because of the porn I was consuming. So that's what you said. And my question to you is, do I understand your testimony to be that you were essentially making that up in order to make other men feel that you were relatable to them? His lawyer objects. The witness answers, no, I'm sure I have had crossed boundaries in my teens and 20s. I'm sure I have. Gottlieb continues to question, and do you think that was because of the exposure that you had to this kind of toxic pornography? Baldoni says, I'm sure that was a part of it. It was also a different time, and part of why I wrote the book was that consent wasn't taught to boys, and I wanted to make sure that we taught consent to boys and men.
He was like, nobody told me you had to ask permission to have sex with a woman.
That was news to me.
That was news to me. I thought all women were just that, for a pleasure. What is that? What is that? He needed to be told. He needed to be told.
He's been saying this for years. He's been saying this on these interviews, and it always lands on the interviewer's face.
Did he ever try to take something away from them when he was a kid?
He's never.
And did his parents ever say, "Don't, that belongs to them. That's not yours"? You have to ask.
Man. One of a kind. Okay.
If somebody has something you want, it is one of the first things we learn. If somebody has something that you want, you have to ask for it. One of the things we all do as children is take things from our young friends, and then that turns into a fucking fight, and we start screaming, and then the parents come in and be like, "He just took that shit," and you'd be like, "You can't just take people's things from them. You have to ask." We learn about permission from others when it comes to interacting with others from a very young fucking age.
I don't know why.
That he needed to get a distinguished, like that sex was also the same as cookies is amazing to me.
That he's relating to the statement of, like, little boys learn that no means yes. And he's like, yeah, that definitely happened to me. What the fuck? No, bro. Why are you...
We have to teach consent. We do, bro. We do. You were taught consent in school. You were taught consent at home. You were taught that you had to learn to ask for things, that you couldn't just take things. Like, and that includes their bodies.
Like, literally, it's like one of the first things you learn as a fucking toddler.
It's one of the first fucking things you learn is to ask. It's one of the first lessons you see taught when you watch children growing up. It was one of the first things. Don't just take things. That includes a human body.
Okay, I'm going to continue. So this is a big chunk that's missing. So after page 79, when he's like off the rails with this fucking weird admissions, okay?
Yeah.
They skip all the way to 116. He doesn't say anything relevant about anything until here, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Question. You hugged Miss Lively on multiple occasions on that set, right? He said yes. Question. Every day? He said no. Question. How many times would you estimate? He's asking that I hugged Miss Lively. He said, the lawyer's asking on the set. So not outside of the set environment, but at work on the set. Baldoni's asking, are these hugs, I'm so sorry. Are these hugs that I initiated, or are these hugs that I was a recipient of? And the lawyer is saying, you can characterize it however you'd like. So Baldoni's answering, I just want to be as accurate in my testimony as possible as it relates to the hugging. That was my question. Which one? The lawyer says, you can include hugs that you believe you initiated and hugs you believe Miss Lively initiated. And Baldoni's like lump them all together. Like, oh my God, move on. Ugh. He said, sure, your best estimate. He goes, okay. And the lawyer's like, number of times. And then, of course, gets an objection because it's not worded properly. The witness, okay, so Baldoni finally answers. He goes, maybe a greeting and an exit. So at the most, maybe again, I don't know. That's my answer to you, Mr. Gottlieb. I don't know. Fair enough. And when you don't know, that's what I always want your answer to be. So he said, I don't know. Do you know who Vivian Baker is? Vivian Baker is Miss Lively's makeup artist, I believe. Question, do you know that she testified under oath in this case? And he said, I assume her testimony would be under oath. Oh, he's being sassy now. Yeah. Question, do you know that she testified under oath in this case? He said, yes. Are you aware that she testified that there was a culture of hugging on the set of It Ends With Us? And Baldoni said, I am now. Are you aware that she said that it made a number of people uncomfortable? Baldoni said, I find that odd. The lawyer says, you find that odd? Why? Baldoni says, because Mrs. Baker was often the one that would run up and give me a hug.
But did you see the hug did you see when he did his montage of hugs for the evidence? Did you see one of them where it was like super deep? With the dude? Where they you
feel his heartbeat.
Yeah, like because in Hollywood hugs, right? Is like I used to refer to it. Many do.
Yeah, it's like
something I meant. It's kind of like a one arm kind of thing. You know, like how the faux kissing of the cheek kind of Hollywood hug, right?
Right.
He would in one of those hug montages that they released, or just hugging clips. He's hugging a dude, and he stops. He does this deep ass like a hug that I think we played on the live. And
that would make you uncomfortable.
I pointed out that it would make me very uncomfortable if he did that with me. The kind where you're like pressing your chest against the other person, and you've got the ridge of their back in your hand, and you're pushing hard and rubbing it, and it's just like, the fuck are you doing here? We're not. What are you doing? It would really bother me. And so, if somebody said something about a hug being uncomfortable, You know, and this is the Baha'i thing. I think that they
Yes.
try to excuse
Right.
is because they're super deeply affectionate people
Love
who
and
try
light,
to express and what do you would like whatever, share the love. Get the fuck out of here with this. It's easy to be offensive when you hug if you take it too fucking far. When it's supposed to be just a greeting or a gesture of goodwill or whatever, friendship gesture. Go ahead.
Are you aware that she said that you made it that made a number of people uncomfortable? He said, I find that odd. And the lawyer's asking, you find that odd, why? He says
He also didn't answer the question.
I know, because Mrs. Baker was often the one that would run up and give me a hug. He said, and the lawyer says, and because of that, you find it odd that she testified that a number of people felt uncomfortable with the culture of hugging on the set of It Ends With Us. He said, correct. And then they pivot back
and I got to tell you, if some, like, the culture of hugging to me sounds ridiculous.
Culture of hugging.
Yeah, hugging is all over Hollywood. It's everywhere you go. It's in restaurants.
What
It's
do you
in
mean, culture of
jobs.
hugging?
The culture of hugging is not on a set. It's all over Hollywood. So to characterize that they had some kind of weird, unusual thing because people hugged on a set, I think is probably a little ridiculous. If everybody's hugging all the time or they're hugging everybody all the time, yeah, that sounds a little ridiculous to me.
I think there's also a little overcompensation because these guys were talking about that they were so thrilled that they didn't have to do COVID protocols anymore. And they were trying to address Blake Lively's desire to have some COVID protocols. So it makes me think that this is probably a group of people that really got like all fucking screwed up about the lockdowns where you had to be social distancing, and they probably were like traumatized by it.
Yeah.
And so they were overcompensating by having a set where you not only do you not have to wear masks, but you can actually hug people. You don't have to do social
maybe,
distancing.
but where I was going was that, and maybe that's true, but where I was going was just that I think that if anyone felt uncomfortable with the hugs, it's because he took them fucking too far.
Okay, so the lawyer is reading to him a quote, and I don't know what the context of this question is, but he says, he's reading a quote, as the two climax at the same time, they lock eyes and cannot help but smile, baffled that they found each other.
This has got to be the virginity scene.
Question, whose idea was it to add the two climax at the same time?
Yeah.
And Baldoni says, Christy Hall. Question, when did she communicate that to you? Baldoni says, we did it. We were writing together. We were in a room in my office. We were specifically working on a lot of the sex scenes. And
where are you? Okay.
And we were writing a movie that was filled with romance and lust and intimacy and sex. And again, these are all outlines, right? So a script has far less description than a book. So you have It Ends With Us, which has a ton of pages and very detailed descriptions of various scenes so that you can paint the picture in your mind. And all writers do, which I learned a lot on this process, is and that cuts off. They pick up a page later where the lawyer is asking something that ends with conversation with Miss Lively about the scene in which you discussed you and your wife. So I don't know what the rest of his answer on that was. Okay. I guess they included that just to say about Christy Hall was responsible with the two climax at the same time.
Yep.
But he says they wrote it together, so who knows? Okay.
So now that it's about Christy Hall, either corroborating that
he's
or
scapegoating her for his bad decisions.
He's saying that she's the one who.
Because this, just to remind everybody, Blake Lively has this allegation that they were discussing this. They both climaxed at the same time in a scene, and she was like, he was saying because that happens with us, like him and his wife. And she was, Blake Lively was saying that made her really uncomfortable, that he was sharing details about his personal sex life.
It's fucking inappropriate.
Yeah, totally. So that's why that's in this.
I can't stand it when people do this.
That's why he's being questioned about it. Okay. 2 pages later, it picks up, 1 page later, conversation with Miss Lively about the scene in which you discuss you and your wife. Justin Baldoni answers, I remember a conversation, not discussing a scene, where I brought up my wife, yes. Question, and what do you recall bringing up? Justin Baldoni said, the day before I had a meeting with the intimacy coordinator to go over ideas for all of these scenes. I wrote down a bunch of notes from that meeting. The following day, I had a meeting set with Miss Lively to specifically talk about the sex scenes. That was the actual point of the meeting. In that meeting, I read through and walked through the notes that I had discussed with the intimacy coordinator. One of them was an idea that I had come up with where Ryle and Lily were making love. Lily had climaxed or had an orgasm, to speak frankly here, and Ryle did not. And the idea, as the intimacy coordinator and I were talking about things that women have not seen on camera yet, things that would be unique, things that would be attractive to the female gaze, which is which was the purpose of that meeting. The idea was that Ryle would then stop and say, just watching you was enough, or I'm good, or something like that. When I shared that with Miss Lively, she then made it personal and said, oh God, that would mortify me if that happened to me. To which I then responded, as one does, because when you're two grown adults with children who are married in the context of talking about sex scenes, with a movie that you're making with a person who is understanding that there are going to be sex scenes in a book based on a lot of sex in it. In a book based with a lot of sex in it. The only thing you really have to share are personal experiences.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true.
So I said,
and you can also share your personal experiences without divulging their personal experiences.
Unbelievable. So I said, oh, well, some of the most beautiful moments have been when that's what happened with me and my wife.
That's fucked up. No,
and
you're fucked up.
Why the fuck would you say that, bro?
It's so interesting too because
you can speak creatively without fucking
of
naming.
Course.
I mean, are you going to draw a picture? Like, fuck. Okay. Question. So you were interested in shooting the scene from
First of all, what I would have said to her if I were him is, well, Lily Bloom loved it. We good?
Yeah.
That's how I would handle that. I was like, well,
the character Lily Bloom.
We're not talking about you.
We're
not talking about you. We're not talking about me. We're talking about Lily Bloom, and we're also talking about Ryle.
That's a good point.
And that's where that conversation should have been. If Blake Lively, made it personal by saying her little bit there, which by the way, I was completely unsexual. She just said if that happened to be mortified. There was no visualization.
Yeah, he might have taken that as a hint since he's framing this whole thing as like he was interested in what women would like and what they haven't seen before, and so he posed it to a woman who gave him negative feedback about that idea. Immediate negative feedback about that idea. He should have been like, oh, okay. Well, then maybe we won't try this because obviously you're a woman.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. A good point would have been to like say, so are you uncomfortable with this then? Is this something that you would not be comfortable with?
Just like as a concept in the sex scene. Like, okay, well, maybe rewrite it so that maybe you didn't get a negative experience from the woman you described it to.
Maybe we don't have to film the orgasm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We can just assume somebody did.
Question. So you were interested in shooting the scene from the female gaze. Answer. I was interested in shooting all the sex scenes from the female gaze. Question. It's so weird. So
why are you adding scenes that the fucking writer didn't add? Because she did.
Both female writers did not. Okay.
Yeah.
Question. Did Miss Lively have a female gaze? Answer. I would imagine so if she's a female. Question. Did you believe she had one? Of course. His answer. Question. Did you believe that gaze was important in incorporating ideas about how these various scenes should be shot? Baldoni says, absolutely. That's why I incorporated all of Miss Lively's ideas without hesitation. Question. And it's your testimony that when you say Miss Lively said she would be mortified, and it's your testimony that when you say Miss Lively said she would be mortified, that you believe she was referring to? There must be a typo there.
Yeah, so referring to her personal sexual experience.
Answer. If that happened to her, were her words.
Question.
If that happened to her in her personal life? Answer. Yes, it was a personal comment. Like it was referring that so she was speaking hypothetically.
She didn't talk about once I was having sex and somebody looked at me and I was like, no, he's the one who made it personal. She made it hypothetical.
I know.
Absolutely true.
Okay. He said, yes, it was a personal comment. Like it was inferring that if her husband didn't finish, if she didn't finish her husband or climax her husband, that she would be mortified. That's not what she said.
That's
just what you fucking decided in your head.
Yeah. Once again,
you
get to fucking reconstruct life around you. It's all through your gaze, son.
He said, that's what she said. So she said, oh, that would mortify me if it happened to me. Question. Your recollection as you sit here today about a meeting that occurred. Okay, so he's changing the subject. And then we don't get to see the rest of this.
Let me answer Appy really quick because Appy, who just joined us, hello Appy, says this whole thing between Lively and Justin is just ridiculous. To a certain extent, I certainly agree with you. She said, but Lively took it way too far trying to destroy Baldoni over it. And I think that's where there's a big misconception about what's going on. And I think what the trial is going to reveal is that it was Justin Baldoni who started all of it, or in a really twisted and kind of awesome twist for people spectating, I suppose. There's a really plausible theory that it was actually the publicists that started it, that they created some kind of press against Justin Baldoni to get him to react so that they could get engaged, that they could basically...
They duped him.
Well, not him. Ultimately, Steve Sarowitz. They had a guy they knew who was a mark. He was a billionaire. There's tens of millions of dollars to be made in a massive litigation, and here we are.
I think it's really important to remember that the central the central like foundation of this case is that this is a case about labor laws and about defamation, civil litigation, right? Like so she's alleging that she was bad-mouthed by people who lied about her in the press. You're not allowed to do that. That's defamation. And she's alleging that he did not behave as an employer is mandated to do by law, which is also something that's well supported by evidence. So if anybody wants to say like, oh, she took over the movie, or she took it too far, or he did this or that, like if you're not having a discussion about what laws are being claimed were broken and whether there's evidence to support that, then you're not having a discussion about this case. It's like there's so many people that are really eager to just like turn this into a battle of like a gender battle, fucking whatever.
Battle of the sexes, yeah.
He said, she said, or like she's got this ulterior motive, and they construct this big elaborate idea about how she fucking did something like underhanded. Like this is about laws. That's why it's in federal court. Like,
yeah, I mean the only reason why she is fighting this is because she believes, and maybe evidence will bear it out and it'll change the way what she believes. But right now, and as of the filing and as of this moment, she believes that Justin Baldoni launched a covert smear campaign, and remember that she believes that was launched, and evidence suggests that it was launched prior to this to the screening, to the premiere of the movie. So we're talking back in August, versus December when the New York Times article came out.
That's right. So if you're talking about who started it, you got to look at the timeline, because he definitely did the first things. The first things that are relevant to this case were done by him.
And she also followed the rules and guidelines set out by the CRD with regards how she reported her incident to the press.
This is true.
And she was doing that because she believed that, and statistically, they're going to have no problem showing her incredible dive in popularity from after the engagement of these crisis PR individuals. And her reputation.
Let me just close this out, because I've got 4 more pages, and then we can talk to the comments. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this starts where Justin Baldoni is contradicting Brandon Sklenar's testimony. Okay?
Yeah.
The question is, so if somebody said they heard you say that your under oath testimony would be that they are mistaken, my under oath testimony is that I don't believe I ever said anything to that effect to Brendan Sklenar. Question: did you say to Miss Slate when you made the sexy comment that you could say that because your wife was there? Justin Baldoni said, my recollection of the sexy comment was that it was all kind of said in one sentence. Gottlieb is like, and what was that one sentence? He goes, I don't even get to read the rest of this. So this gets cut off. But
the assumption is then Simpson. Okay.
Justin Baldoni says, Miss Slate walked in. As a director, I was doing whatever I was doing, getting the set ready. I looked over to her. She was wearing I believe a black leather pants, which were designed to, I'm sure, look sexy. And without thinking, I said something to the effect of, oh, wow, those pants look sexy on you. And my memory, if it serves me correctly, my wife was in the room nearby, and I think in my head, I was like, oh.
I did something wrong.
And then we don't.
I was like, oh, oops, that might be offensive. So now I have to dig myself out of the offense I just created by asking my wife to bail me out by being present.
Listen, dude, that is such fucking high stakes shit, dude. Like, a fucking boss at a job. It doesn't matter if you're working in a fucking modeling agency. When you're talking about somebody's clothing, that is like super game. You got to be in like game mode, bro. Like you cannot say the wrong thing because it's so easy to fuck up and get accused of sexual
don't
harassment.
say you look great, you look amazing. It's really easy. He used the word
sexy of all the other fucking words in the English language he could have used to compliment if he even needed to. I mean, what is it? If it's fucking wardrobe, then he's already gone over how it looks. Like, what the fuck is he doing?
You look fucking amazing.
So frivolous.
You look,
I swear to God,
you look beautiful.
Dude.
You could say,
Who
I mean, that gets
like that,
little...
dude. You're a boss. You have to act better. This is crazy. It's like the reason why he's in this mess is because of his fucking mouth. Okay. This continues 100 pages later. Okay, so he didn't say anything relevant to the motion for summary judgment in 100 pages, but we do get to see this. Question: did Mr. Heath? No. Did anyone else? He said, I don't know. Did you want Miss Lively to perform the birth scene without most of her clothes on? He said, no. Question: did you ever tell Miss Lively that your wife had ripped her clothes off during childbirth? Objection from his attorney. Justin Baldoni
assumes
said,
facts, not evidence.
Yeah, I do not recall a conversation where I said she ripped her clothes off during childbirth. Question: do you recall ever sharing any information with Miss Lively in speaking about the birth scene in the movie where you recounted information about your wife giving birth to Miss Lively?
That's funny how that sounds. Huh?
Yeah.
She gave birth to Blake Lively.
Oh yeah, there's a comma there that I couldn't read, obviously. Okay, so Justin Baldoni said, I remember numerous conversations where Miss Lively and I were talking about and I don't mean my birth, but our like collective births where she shared personal information.
So many births.
Where she shared personal information and then I shared personal information about my wife. Question: and as you sit here today, you can't recall any conversation in which the topic included the amount of clothing or the type of clothing that Miss Lively's character ought to wear during the birthing scene. Mr. Baldoni says, I don't remember anything specific about clothing. That was definitely not what we were talking about in terms of all the conversations around our births. Question: did you ever ask Mr. Heath to share any portion of a video of his wife giving birth with Miss Lively? Again, that's grammar. He said, I did.
Go show her.
Yeah, go show her. Don't even ask her first.
It's not even messy. Just go show her.
Just put the phone right in her. She's eating a sandwich. She's about to take a bite. Make sure you show her when she's eating.
It's lunch. This is perfect timing.
Question: did you specify when you asked Mr. Heath to share that video with Miss Lively what he should share from it or how much he should share from it? And Baldoni says, and this gets cut off, but he says, the only video I'm aware of is after the birth of his child. So I believe there's only one that I asked him to share. That's not good, dude. Okay, here's the last page.
Anada said, oh, it's the pants' fault. The pants were designed to look sexy, so we had to call it what it was.
I know, that's what he's saying.
Where are these pants?
It's so nuts.
You look fucking sexy in them. Shit.
Oh, are those them sexy pants?
You know what? Them pants are banned from the set. Okay, they're inappropriate.
For real, this guy's. I'm so ashamed because like I read his astrology chart. We have like super similar astrology, and I'm like ashamed for he's acting like such a dummy. I'm like, dude, you're smarter than this. I've seen your chart. Like, why are you being so fucking boneheaded? Okay, cool. So this is the last page that we get in the motion for summary judgment. Hopefully, we'll see more context soon, but this is it. I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna read this. This isn't attributed to anybody, so it's very, very...
Last paragraph, is that what you said?
It is the last page, it's a whole page of testimony, so I'm assuming it's Baldoni monologuing.
Let's go.
But it's weird that they don't attribute that to him. It's hardly evidence in that. Okay. It starts off, in their circle, Hugh Jackman, Sean Levy, Taylor Swift. By that point, as I testified earlier, I was essentially forced or threatened to step down off my film. I wasn't able to finish my own film, even considering it tested higher. Somehow the actress of my movie, who was not a producer, was able to take complete control of the film. By this point, Miss Lively had requested that my name be removed, so I had a film by credit removed.
It's a lie.
It's a lie, yeah.
It's a complete fucking lie.
He doesn't have any evidence to support any of this either.
That's just a complete lie.
He even said that he was going to fire himself.
I just watched the fucking movie. It's a lie.
He said, I'm just going to fire myself. So I don't really know how much it's being attributed to her or how much
he got the vanity credit.
He's to blame for.
He got the vanity credit on the film. He got the vanity credit in the trailer.
On the poster.
The only fucking vanity credit that he got taken away from, which is common in marketing, and they asked for the waiver and he had to have given it, which was to remove the above the title, a film by Justin Baldoni, because it didn't work with the artwork they ended up coming up with. The artwork they came up with is beautiful floral with Blake Lively, whatever. And having that on there would have just, it would have blown the whole poster. So they asked him this is something you would do. It
would have blown the whole poster.
It would have. And that matters, bro. That is like the key art is incredible. This is such a this is him being, remember I described him as being in a fetal position and fucking wounded while everyone's like, is Justin okay? This is fucking a baby. And by the way, the only one who gives a fuck about that stupid credit is him. Hollywood doesn't give a shit about it. When they say, when it says directed by Justin Baldoni, it doesn't matter if if it says a film by. If that thing made $340 fucking million, everybody wants to meet with him in every fucking studio because he's obviously got the Midas touch.
See how he says essentially? He can't say factually, right? He has essentially because these are intimations, these are assumptions of his.
Yeah.
Because he has no evidence to support this at all.
So stupid.
He said I was essentially forced or threaten to step down off my film.
Essentially.
He doesn't fucking know which.
Yeah, and there's going to be no proof to support it.
He can't articulate it because he doesn't have any evidence to show.
Yeah, it doesn't
The court was
exist.
like, would you please show us evidence? And he's like, sorry, I don't really have any.
Yeah, well, I called my editor, and then the editor said, no, I'm sorry, everyone's been shut out of the editing room per Sony.
Yeah, the editor said it was Sony that made this decision, and he immediately...
And then he immediately turned it into Blake Lively in the conversation.
Oh, this bit about...
It's called reframing, and he does it a lot.
Removing a film buy credit. That was also an email from Sony that never even mentioned Blake Lively or her involvement in the decision whatsoever.
No, it said specifically, we have this artwork that we need you to waive the fucking credit on so that it doesn't look stupid.
Having creative disagreements with Sony, which he acquiesces to because, you know, whatever, he's
because any director would, because it's a fucking vanity credit.
I understand.
Everybody talks about vanity credits like the executive producer. A film buy credit can't be more vain.
Settle down. Let me just make my point.
No, Angela, I won't. I'm turning green.
He is constantly having these disagreements with Sony and then immediately scapegoating Blake Lively for them. Because it is not in any of the evidence where he can attribute any of these statements or any of these consequences to her work, her statements. He was not threatened or forced by Blake Lively.
I can tell you with every bit of confidence.
Let me just read this.
That there's no fucking way that this guy got forced out of his position by anybody but himself.
He got on under our skin with this one. Okay. By that point, as I testified earlier, I was essentially forced or threatened to step down off my film.
Bullshit. You own the fucking movie. You own the production company. It's outrageous, bro. Go ahead.
I'm going to just leave.
No, go ahead,
Let me just finish. This is just the last page.
I'm with you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Zip it. We'll talk about it after. By that point, as I testified earlier, I was essentially forced or threatened to step down off my film. I wasn't able to finish my own film, even considering it tested higher. Somehow, the actress of my film, who was not a producer, was able to take complete control of the film. By this point, Miss Lively had requested my name be removed, so I had a film buy credit removed. I was removed from the majority of marketing materials, from the poster. I was being removed for the most part from the trailer. I know that she had been working with Taylor Swift to make sure that she got the song that she wanted in the film, but I had assumed... Ingrate. Listen, and I had assumed that was not a battle or a fight that I could ever win, nor would you want to.
Yep.
All of the cast had unfollowed me, which is a very public thing to do right before a movie comes out, all in unison. And at that time, I was being threatened via my agency that if I didn't release a statement, then the gloves would come off. Now, I don't know the exact sequence of the time in which I sent that text, but I will tell. He got all sassy.
As in?
Yeah, cut off.
So, a couple of things on that.
Of course they included this. This is more of their lying bullshit that got their fucking case dismissed. You can't make claims like this without supporting it with evidence, bro. You can't say that she did something and then show no fucking evidence that she ever did. It's just fucking weird. He's still doing this, bro. Like,
he owns the movie to this day.
His motion for summary judgment is not going to get granted like this.
If you look up who directed the movie, it's Justin Baldoni. If you watch the trailer of the movie, at the end of the movie, he gets a vanity credit. He gets a film by Justin Baldoni, written by Christy Hall, directed by Justin Baldoni. He gets second billing in the main credits for the acting. He gets second fucking billing, bro.
Don't shout.
He's the male lead of the movie. He's the male fucking lead of the fucking movie. What the fuck is he talking about? By the way, it's a movie through a female gaze. He's complaining about the movie about a woman and the woman being the center of the marketing. The fucking outrage, the arrogance, it's unbelievable. This fucking guy is so fucking narcissistic, he can't even see himself in the fucking mirror.
I know, it's weird because he's constantly saying these things like, yes, it was my main focus. I wanted it to be from the female gaze, but all of these women are talking to him and he's like, yeah, anyway, that's ridiculous. What we're going to do is...
Fucking outrage of this is unbelievable. This guy is fucking just the stupidest thing I ever heard. Absolutely everybody in the film industry would market this movie as Blake Lively. Absolutely nobody would market this movie as Justin Baldoni's character Ryle. Nobody. Justin's character Ryle is a domestically violent character.
He's also not a star.
He beats women, and he's also not a star. He's literally nobody knows who he is.
I didn't know who he was.
No, the fucking very small amount of people knew who Justin Baldoni was before this event.
Sony Picture Studios is not going to put a guy who's not a star prominently on the poster because people will be like, "What is this fucking student film shit?"
Let me guess, Eric Roberts is in it somewhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's fucking ridiculous. I honestly, this is where it's as if Justin Baldoni is a complete noob to the
I think
industry.
he was fucking born yesterday.
I
It's
can't
crazy.
fucking believe how stupid that whole thing sounded.
I know.
That whole fucking soliloquy, that monologue of stupidity. That is not how Hollywood works at all.
And it's the same shit that he could never show any evidence to support when he got his fucking case dismissed. So this right here, I read a lot and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I wonder how the judge is going to react to that. Or like, I wonder whether this is going to get him any leeway. Like maybe they'll make a summary judgment, progress with this. But this shit right here, the judge is going to read this again and just be like, you are still fucking lying to this court.
Yeah, to everyone's faces. And the words essentially, I'm so glad you brought up essentially, because essentially isn't evidence.
No.
Essentially isn't fact.
No.
Essentially is assumptions. Essentially is interpretation. Essentially has no basis in reality. Essentially, he's lying. That's essentially what's going on here, is that he's not telling the truth. He everything is through his gaze. He doesn't know what anything outside of his own gaze is. And that's clearly evident in this situation. He is the director of the movie. He is the second star of the movie, the male lead of the movie, and the villain at the same time. So he's the antagonist, which, by the way, most of the time it's like, in romancy movies, you got your Colin Firth and then you got your Dwight Yoakam. No, you got your Colin Firth.
Crispin Glover.
And you got your Crispin Glover. They'd make a lovely pair. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you have your two romantic leads, right? Your Scarlett Johansson or your Renee Zellweger. That's where I was going, right? You got your Colin Firth and your Renee Zellweger, the two people who come together, they're going to be lovers. And this is kind of essentially the same for this movie. But because this movie takes this villainous turn and it's a movie about domestic violence, obviously Ryle isn't that kind of marketing opportunity that you would have with a Colin Firth or a true leading male in this situation. Atlas's role is far too minor to put him in that kind of romancy role in the way that you might market a movie that involves two lovers. I'm talking about the marketing of the movie, Angela. What do you mean? What am I talking about? I'm talking about he's sitting here and whining and complaining about his position in the marketing,
without
saying he's saying he was virtually removed from the fucking the trailers, but the movie's not about Ryle.
Who gives a fuck, dude? Count your money.
The movie's about fucking Lily Bloom.
You're the director, dude. Like, why can't he?
And that's the other thing, of course.
Why can't he act like the fucking boss for once? The guy is a fucking huge achiever. Why is he acting like such a fucking little like meek weasel?
It's really weird.
You know what I mean?
And the other part of it is like nobody, no entity. I'll say not nobody, but no entity benefited more through this whole thing than Wayfair. No entity would, and by the way, obviously, we're sans the dispute itself. Had this movie just flown and everybody just shut their mouths, Blake Lively's star would have risen exponentially because it's a $340 million box office off of 26 million. The Hollywood would have just went nuts for it. Yeah. The publicity would have flown through the roof for her. Everything would have been golden. Justin Baldoni would have been a golden child, instantly a golden child.
Dude,
he was about to graduate to Ron Howard level.
I know.
To Ron Howard heights. All he had to do was just go through the fucking motions and get to the end of this thing.
It makes me uncomfortable.
That's all they had to do.
Physically uncomfortable.
They owned and still own the movie.
Yeah.
He is an executive producer on the movie. He is the chairman co-chairman of the production company that owned the rights to both this and the sequel. He's the fucking star. I mean, this guy couldn't have more good fortune in his fucking life. And, and the Taylor Swift comment, let me tell you, man. First of all, let me tell you something. We're making Don's Plum, right? With Leonardo DiCaprio, since there's a couple people who've never been here before. I made a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. He stole that fucking movie from me. It's legendary. Look it up. It's called Don's Plum. You can also read the book behind me, Two Real Hollywood Memoir, if you want to learn more about it. We wanted James Brown. We had a scene where Jenny Lewis and...
You wanted a James Brown song.
You wanted a James Brown song. Jenny Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio in character are, they're playing this role, and it's this sex scene. It's a sexy scene where Leonardo DiCaprio tries to basically bang her in a bar, and she rejects him. And then she goes into this monologue about how much of a douche he is and smacks him in the face and leaves. And through the beginning of that, and when she does that and she walks out, we had James Brown, "It's a man's world," kick in. And it was fucking sweet, let me tell you. It was so fucking beautiful. The artist gets to decide So we called up and they had a price tag, $50,000. They were like, you know, you got to pay $50,000. So that's what happens when you go and you buy music and you get it put in, right? And they put their price tag on it, and that's the way it goes. When you're at Taylor Swift's level, her shit isn't for sale.
Yeah.
That shit isn't for sale. The only way that you would ever get a Taylor Swift song in a movie in 2025, 2024, 2023, 2026, 2027 is if Taylor Swift thinks that song is perfect. Then she'll offer it up, and that's all you get, motherfucker. The fact that Blake Lively chose the song is absolutely moot because the person who chose that song was Taylor Swift.
He could be grateful. He could have
Oh my God. She handed him, listen, 120 million views on that trailer in 24 hours. The book sold 6 million copies. Triple it up for libraries and borrows. 18 million people maximum watched that 120 million viewed trailer. 18 million of them are from the book. That was all Swifties, bro. That was Taylor Swift on a silver fucking platter for this guy. And this is the way, and this is his response.
And this is the fucking thing.
He's an ingrate.
I know it. Delicate has this really funny comment. Remember you said the rock or a rock? She said, has me dying laughing. All right, let's go.
Clarity. Guys, it's been 3 hours. 3 hours and 10 minutes. I'm fucking hoarse as fuck. Ethan's here redacting his messages because he's saying bad shit about us. You know, we got to go. Epi's here saying, you know, where's my pen? Where's my pen? All right, listen. You guys are fantastic. Thanks for hanging in there. Wow, 119 people, 27-minute average. Really appreciate you guys. Hope tonight was informative and fun. We'll be back again tomorrow on a shorter note. We'll only do 2 hours tomorrow, I promise. So I'm exhausted. I'm going to go eat an Asian pear. That's what I'm going to go do. You guys are amazing. You're even more amazing. Thank you for reading for us tonight.
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
It was awesome. Appreciate you all. Good night.